Good morning, Daybreak watchers. We're gonna get going in about 30 seconds here.
Weekday evenings from 5 to 7 on 92.7 WMDX.
Finding support for my child with ADHD felt overwhelming. I didn't know which direction to take, but Understood.org's resources helped guide me. Now I have the tools I need to keep us moving forward.
Good morning!
Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. We've talked the whole night through.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
This is where Wisconsin wakes up. It's Daybreak with Brian Noonan and Jamie Martinson. Here are your hosts, Brian and Jamie.
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. It is 6 minutes after 6 on this Tuesday. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. We want to hear from you how you survived a very rough night of storms in the Dane County area. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. As of 5 o'clock, about 12,000 customers in Dane County and 80,000 customers across Wisconsin are still without power, so hopefully you are not one of them. Severe thunderstorm warnings from midnight until about 12:45 in Dane County. Then tornado sirens went off about 12:30. It was a rough night, Jamie Parker. I see you're here. You made it. You survived. Thank goodness. Rough night.
It was a long night. We have power at our house, so that's the good news. So hopefully for anybody who's not aware of that doesn't mean your alarms won't be going off later this morning. But yeah, around 12:30, Parker, wasn't it? I don't know. I was sound asleep. I got woken up by the storm chaser of the house who rarely tells me to go to the basement. He told me to go to the basement. We took the dog. We took the teenager. It was nice, though, because my husband had the couch ready for me and some blankets, so I could just basically lay back down and go to sleep until we went upstairs. But I didn't see a lot of damage this morning. There's some tree branches down if you're out and about. A lot of garbage cans in the middle of the road. Yeah. And a couple street signs also got blown over last night as well. Crazy. So you just be on the lookout this morning as you're heading out the door. But we're just going to keep trying to wake up over here is what we're going to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little
Parker, did you
groggy.
lose power? Everything all right at your place?
No, power was fine. Just pretty much same thing. Got down probably 12:30 or so. Very slowly got down there. And then fell asleep on the couch and then was awoken to be told to go back to bed, which was nice.
They could have just left you there.
Wake up to go back to bed.
Yeah. I'm like, I've got my phone on me. It'll wake me up. I've got the alarm set. It'll be fine, but no.
This all happened after my elder kid, called me at 11 p.m., and I answer the phone because I usually silence my phone, except there's a few calls that I don't have silenced. I've got it set so they can always come through. My kid, my mom, all of that. My husband, if he's not around. And I answer my phone, and he's like, "Are you sleeping?" I was like, "Well, I was trying to. What do you need?" And he goes, "I just did my taxes." And he goes, "I have a problem." And I was like, "Oh, this can't be good."
Yeah, the problem is you're calling me at 11 o'clock at night.
It was that, but because he's on the Affordable Care Act for his insurance and because he made too many hours, he now owes $900 to the IRS.
That's a problem.
And I said to him, I said, "You know what?" I said, "This is a problem for tomorrow, and I need to go to bed." I said, "But you should call your dad because he's driving home right now, and you and he should have this discussion." So that's what happened. It was a great night. So I had just basically gotten to sleep when I got told to get back to the basement. So it was exciting stuff.
That's exactly what I want in my night of sleep.
That's right.
But there were no tornadoes touched down, right?
No.
According to the National Weather Service?
No, in fact, I'm not even sure that they issued a warning from what I'm understanding, but they saw something on radar that would have indicated that people needed to take cover. Now, here's the thing. If you're thinking that this is going to be the last round of storms, Probably not the case. We could see more actually today, especially in southern Wisconsin. They have an enhanced risk for severe storms. If you live in that area, that could also include tornadoes. The western portion of southern Wisconsin will be under a slight risk starting for tomorrow. Now, I think this is also fascinating because here in Wisconsin, we are expected to get a lot of rain over the next few days. In fact,
That's
maybe
what we need.
Yeah,
because we haven't flooded enough.
1 to 3 inches by at least through midweek is possible. And there's so many parts of this country that are experiencing drought and wildfire risk right now. Wisconsin, complete opposite. So hopefully basements are dry this morning. I think that would be my biggest worry if I lived in portions of Wisconsin right now, is the amount of flooding that is going to potentially come with all of these heavy rains. But it is also Severe Weather Awareness Week, in case anybody's wondering. There's going to be a tornado drill, a statewide one on Thursday at 1:45 and 6:45 in the afternoon, just in case the systems aren't going to be tested enough before Thursday.
I always love when those are after actual tornado drills or actual tornado warnings.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't know what to do here,
Yeah.
well,
Right.
if you almost
running
screwed
around.
up the other day, we'll show you now.
Was
Those
it
are
all
always the
fun?
worst in school too, with the tornado
Yes.
drills. Trying to keep, they were fun as a kid, but then when you're a teacher, it is not fun to try to wrangle all the kids out in the hallway, get them down on their knees, bunched together with their heads, and they all want to pop their heads up. They all want to talk. It's just like,
Yes.
stop, just be here for a minute, and we'll be okay. Is
And
there a
did
storm coming? No, it's a drill. What does that mean? It means there's not a storm. Then why are we doing it? Just to practice. Well, why do we have to practice? Because in case their tornado does come. Is one coming? No, it's not. Oh, my God. All right, listen, why don't you just be Dorothy and you go sit in the classroom, and if the tornado comes, we'll speak kindly of you as you fly away. That's how it's going to work.
Here are your ruby red slippers. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
How was your evening? Because I know your wife finally made her way back from seeing your daughter. And
all the
any
storms
travel
came
issues?
through early, so we
Okay.
didn't. So her flight got in. It was, it was fine. The dogs were happy to see her, which
was just gonna
and I didn't
ask.
have to take the dogs out last night. So it was.
I
I was
would've
happy
liked-
to see her too. I was like, oh, good, the dog sitter's home. So yeah, it's she's back. So now, hopefully, I don't have to run down during the show and take care of the
Nice.
mutts at least today. But yeah, they were. Everything's back semi to normal. By the time she got home, though, it was time to go to bed. I was
Yeah.
beat.
It was funny because we were talking about it pre-show. My husband's birthday is today. And so as we were going back up the stairs to bed last night, or at least I was, I said to him, I said, hey, you got a tornado on your birthday, because it was about 12:45 by this point. And he was so excited that he'd gotten a tornado on his birthday.
Nice.
In air quotes, we'll put that loosely. And I said, and he goes, the only thing that can make this better. And I said, what's that? And I said, why are we having a conversation at 12:45? I need to go to bed. And he goes, yellow cake with chocolate frosting. And I said, that's your threshold.
Right now.
That's what makes
Go
you
make
happy.
it right now. I'm so amped up. I need a cake to help me go to sleep.
I had to make a deal with him. It's probably not going to happen this week when I look at the calendar, but I told him that we would certainly celebrate bigger with a yellow cake chocolate frosting, to which he says to me, because he's been burned by my promises in the past, are you sure? Are you actually going to do it?
If I were him, I'd order one just to be safe, just in case.
I'll get to it.
Why
We'll
do I
make it
think your
happen.
basement looks like a survivalist bunker?
It does not. It's actually
You don't have
the
you don't have racks and racks of
No.
food and MRIs
No.
and water
Nope. Nope. It's actually the kids' domain in our basement. That's where he hangs out. It's got an extra bed in case anybody needs to stay with us. It's got a full drum kit. It's got the workout area. It's got his computer lair, a couch, a chair, and a big TV. That's what's
okay.
in the basement. It's an unfinished basement as well. So, you do what you have to do in those
sure.
areas. But it's essentially his domain. He gets to hang out out there. In there, it's where he goes when he wants to get away from us, which is pretty much every day, all day. So it works out well for all of us.
It's nice. My basement almost killed me yesterday.
Oh, no, what
It's
happened?
it's old. The house is 100-year-old kind of farmhousey kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
And the basement is unfinished as well. I guess partially because there's a bathroom down it. But anyway, it's very low, and I am very tall. and I have hit my head numerous times on various beams and ductwork. And I always have to walk very hunched over when I'm down there. Yesterday, I must not have hunched enough, and I hit my head on the support beam of the house, the main beam, and it left. You can't see it on the. Oh, maybe you can. There's a
yes,
crease.
you can. You can see a crease.
Yes, there's a big crease in my head. I thought I was going down. It hit so hard.
Oh.
I saw stars, and I was like, "Oh man, if I drop." The dogs aren't going to come down here because they don't like to come down in the basement.
Your wife is gone.
And Debbie's gone. She's not coming back. So, yeah, I would have, who knows? I would have perished right in front of the washing machine trying to get laundry done before she got home.
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
Barely.
Oh,
Didn't even knock any sense into me, Parker. That was the problem.
Dang it.
Usually you hope a blow that hard to the head is going to knock a little sense into you.
No kidding.
But yeah, so she got in the car and we were talking, and I said, "Oh, hey, look at my head." She's like, "Oh my God, what happened to your head?"
At least she cared. At least she didn't go, well, whatever. It's fine.
She might have thought I broke something, not on me, but in the house. So that's what she was worried about. Also proves I have a very hard head.
This is what's good about being 5'1". It's very rare that I hit my head that hard on anything because I am below almost everything in this world.
I may have to start wearing like a helmet when I go down in the basement. And I'm not, I wish I was joking because the amount of times I've hit my head either going, because it is very low unless I'm between the floor joists.
Right.
The beams hang low everywhere. And they don't
not
give.
Oh, no. They're not going to move when you run into them. No. Turns out they're funny that way. Yeah. It also sucks that that's where the washing machine is.
Yep. Yeah. So I got to go down there.
Now, is Debbie tall or is she short?
No, she's taller than you.
Okay.
But I would say she's like 5'6", probably.
Okay.
5'7".
Oh yeah, she's much taller than
she
I
claims. She claims she's shrinking now as she gets she gets older. Who knows?
My family is convinced that I am, because the boys are much taller than me, and so when they stand next to me, they'll be like, "You used to come to my shoulder. You're actually below my shoulder now." And I'm like, "We don't."
Well, maybe they grew.
Like,
maybe it doesn't have to mean
true.
you
It's
shrunk.
kind of like asking a woman her age. You don't point out that she's getting shorter. Like you don't. These are things. And Corey just always looks at him and he'll be like, "Guys, seriously," or he'll just give him the whole, "Dude, don't just don't say those words out loud" kind of look. It happens.
Well, then now you should watch. I think it's on Peacock. The Incredible Shrinking Wife. It's a
I've seen
show where the guy
previews.
minimizes his wife to Pee-wee size.
The only time Corey would probably think that's good is if it happened to my mouth. That would probably be that's the only part that would actually shrink. He'd be fine with that.
Well, when we come back, we've been trying to figure out the housing shortage in this country, and there was a big program that came out from the administration saying, "Hey, corporate buyers, we're going to limit how many houses you can buy because you can't keep buying houses and then turning them into rentals and eating up the entire housing market." And so, turns out that that might not be working out as well as they had planned. That it might, especially if you want to rent a house. So we'll get into all of that. And again, if you want to jump in at any point during the show, feel free, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. A lot to get to today. So I guess we should start trying to get to it.
We're going to try to get to it. We've got some great guests joining us today as well. We're going to talk about getting some grants into schools for diabetes education and for students with diabetes. Got a lot jam-packed into this show today. It is 6:19 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan, and this is the Civic Media Network.
All right. Brian, you got to get pool noodles.
I'd spend probably a week's salary to cover everything down in that basement. But I have thought of that. There's a couple places, like coming down the stairs
Sure.
There's a big beam, so I have to go like that before I can come up on the other side. And coming in from the outside the basement door, you have to really duck in that beam. Man, that I don't know. I must have been thinking of something else or looking in a different direction and didn't, because I'm always hunched over down there, but I must not have hunched enough, man. 'Cause boom.
That sucks.
And I'm always in a hurry, so I'm always walking fast.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. The only time I really hit my head is if, like, and it sounds ridiculous, but like if somebody leaves a top cupboard open and I don't realize it, or I come up underneath of it because I'm just tall enough, just short enough, however you want to look at it, that I'll hit the corners of those. And I've done that numerous times. Like one day I came up, I didn't realize somebody had left a drawer open while I was cleaning something out, and I came up and I went right underneath of the drawer. So that's the only time I really, but yeah, I never have to duck under much.
You're fortunate.
I never have to duck. That's the good part, I guess. Good morning, live stream.
Hello, live stream.
Hello.
Hope you're all doing well today. Surviving the storms, depending on where you're at. Hey, let us know what the weather was like in your area last night if you weren't directly in Madison, because I don't believe other portions of I think they saw some rain.
Yeah, it didn't sound like the severe stuff. Now tonight it's supposed to be much more widespread.
Yeah.
All right. We got 15 seconds here.
All facts, no fiction. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning on the Civic Media Network. Hopefully your day is off to a great start. It is 22 minutes after 6 now. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. Have you bought a home recently? Did you have to buy it from one of these mega companies, or are you having trouble finding inventory? Because that's the problem throughout the country. There is a housing shortage. Well, that's because after the pandemic, investment firms, Wall Street people started buying up housing in huge numbers. Well, that led to a shortage, like I said. And then the president and the Senate decided they were going to advance a bill. And for once, there was a bipartisan agreement. So this bill passed in the Senate that bans mega investors from buying single-family homes. Everybody cooperated. Everybody thought it was good. The Senate passed the bill 89-10, that's good. It's supposed to help us out, right? Well, it may not be helping out because it's not exactly going as planned for them. There's supposed to be a restriction on large investors. You know, they're buying up whole neighborhoods, basically. So then they were turning those into rentals, but now the rent is controlled by a very few people. The rent goes up. It also creates a market for housing where the housing prices goes up because now these companies have all the money, so they are competing against you and I, who are trying to buy a house that you've saved a lot for, and you don't have unlimited funds, so you're priced out of the market. It might not be working according to economists because it's not lowering prices, Jamie. I know that might surprise you. It could reduce single-family home rental options in neighborhoods where people can't afford to buy. A rental housing economist said institutional investors make for convenient boogeymen, but they don't address the real issue. So this is tough. Investors have a big impact on the housing market. You know, following in 2008, when the financial crisis came, that's when private equity firms started jumping into the market, buying up these houses at bargain prices. Then after the pandemic, interest rates fell to historic lows. Everybody was trying to buy a house, but you've got these investment companies, like I said, they can outbid regular homeowners. They were buying it up, and now we're short millions of homes. So guess what they're doing now?
Well, it turns out that they're trying to scoop up as many houses as they can at more affordable prices, which then is also increasing the rent for so many people in so many different markets, and then it's just driving everything up, and it's creating a backlog of essentially housing because we have more people looking for housing, affordable housing right now, than we have actual housing. And it turns out that a lot of these investors own a small share of the single family housing stock, just less than 1%, in fact, according of the 92 million single family homes that are owned by all of these investors. Most of the investors who are more mom and pop, who own fewer than 10 properties. I know, right? Who own fewer than 10 properties. They're making up the vast majority, but they're still considered investors, which are driving up the cost of the housing. And when you look at, housing here in the state of Wisconsin, we don't have enough homes. We don't have even close. No. There are 16,000 homes on the market right now, and we need over 100% more listings just to have some sort of balanced market. And the vacancy rate is sitting at about 0.6%, which obviously, if you're doing some math this morning, and I get it's early, it's before 6:30, so grab the calculator.
And you might not have power to see your calculator.
That's true, but that makes the market extremely tight, all because of the investors who might not necessarily be the big corporations, but it could just be investors like your mom and pops, your local real estate agents who come into a market, whatever it might be, those rental companies who are doing the same thing. But they've created a monopoly is essentially what they've done.
They have. And now that the ban is on the horizon, investors are starting to unload these houses.
Right.
So it's and the economists don't know if it's because of the ban coming up or if it's just a business decision to start showing up or that they see something, they're just going to make, their decision to sell. But they're saying the ban could shut out renters who don't have enough for down payments because now these companies, whether it's mom and pop or the investment companies that own these homes that were renting them out, well, now if they're diversifying and getting out of the single family home market, now those houses are going to be back for sale, which is great if you're looking to buy a house. But if you're trying to rent a house, that's not good because now all these companies that used to rent them don't own them anymore. So you're out, and then going back into apartment buildings, drives rents higher because now apartments are scarce, so apartment rent goes up. If you don't have the down payment saved, you can't buy a house. So nobody's really winning on this what looked to be a pretty good deal and a bipartisan effort by Congress, which is unheard of.
I just love when we get so excited about bipartisan act, and then it turns out that it might not actually be good. I mean, kudos to the Senate for working together. Good for you, but now we have to actually figure out if it's going to be worthwhile, and it doesn't really sound like it's going to because it's actually putting more stress on a system that was already very fragile. And it's one of those things that I always look at. It's like anything else. Why are we making it so hard for people to have a place to live? I don't understand. There's several companies I know that have different programs for down payments and no interest, but it's still pricing people right out of the market, especially first-time home buyers.
And it's always funny when you look at what people are paying in rent.
Oh.
And you go, okay, you've been paying that in rent for so long, and yet mortgage companies won't give you a mortgage. It's like, well, if I've been paying this amount for however many years, don't you think I can keep paying less with a mortgage if you just give me a mortgage?
We have to prove we can pull ourselves up by the bootstraps for that down payment, I guess.
Well, yeah, I guess. But when you're looking at, $40,000, $80,000 to buy it for a down payment, as opposed to you're paying $2,500 a month in rent.
I'm paying my rent. I can't save that. I don't know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
It's 6:29 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. I am Jamie Martinson.
Hey, remember Brad Schimmel? Well, we'll talk about him because he's being a little hypocritical.
We're clear.
Brad. I'm just trying to figure out why he's still relevant.
Yeah, I was surprised to see his name
Like when I saw him do this interview on Sunday, I was like, do we care
No.
what he has to say? Okay.
Didn't they create a job for him?
Yes.
Okay.
So he didn't lose his job. It was one of the last things Pam Bondi did on her way out.
Right. Okay.
Because she literally created Brad Schimmel a position like 3 days before.
That's right. Yeah.
Maybe a week. I don't know. My timelines are always blurry at this point, but it was
Time is hard.
it was relatively close to when she.
Yeah, it was.
It was essentially one of the last things she did.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I'm tired. I need to wake up. This would be one of those days, even though I'm not a coffee drinker, that I would drink coffee.
Think about it. Yeah. I just need a slap in the face. I'm good to go.
And then I was so crabby because when I got my car this morning, I realized that I was out of gas. And I was like, are you flipping kidding me? I have to stop. I have to do work to get out of the car.
At least it wasn't raining.
It wasn't, but everything is just soggy and dripping and
True. I was expecting to need to do the real quick shuffle with my backpack into the car.
our yard is just like you step in our yard, it just squishes. It's awful.
Yeah. Sound like Squidward walking.
Yeah, it does. It really, truly does. Aspen won't go in the grass right now to do anything. All she wants to do is potty on concrete. I'm like, you can't just keep peeing on people's driveways. You can't. People don't actually appreciate that.
Yeah.
She doesn't care.
No. Just a dog.
She just looks at me the whole time like, yeah, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. Kind of got me there. These are the conversations we have while we're out walking, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We converse.
Yeah. Oh, yes. I have my best conversations with my dog.
Yeah. And sometimes when we're walking and I'm talking to her, she looks at me like, could you just shut up when I'm trying to sniff the grass? Okay.
Listen to you talk enough. Would you just go away?
It always cracks me up when I get that look. Because she's part boxer and beagle.
Yeah.
And she's got a little pit bull in there. Okay. So every once in a while you see all of the traits come out and she's got the side eye. She can side eye like nobody's business, which is like a beagle and pit bull thing. Yeah. She's got the side eye.
Yeah, Lawson's real good at his side eye, too.
Yeah.
Like, don't give me that look.
Right? There's so much judgment in it, too.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, seriously, I do everything for you. You would be hunting rabbits if it was not for me.
Hey, some dogs would be happy doing that.
She does. She is happy hunting rabbits. She's a ferocious little killer. I'm going to assume the Bashan is not a ferocious little killer.
No.
Our Bashans were not ferocious little killers either.
He likes to think he is. That's about all he's got, though.
Ours didn't even pretend. They were like, no, we're pretty. That's what we have going for us.
Yeah. I couldn't believe you laid down with me in the basement for 2 hours last evening.
Wow. How old is he?
8.
Oh.
He doesn't like the basement, though.
Mm.
All right. We got 10 seconds here.
Local news, community stories, and the conversations that matter most. Now, more Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Good morning and welcome to the Civic Media Network. It's 6:35 right now. If you are in Appleton and Oshkosh listening on WISS, or in Eau Claire listening on 93.5 The Tap, or even in Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR, we hope your morning is off to a great start. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. Hypocrisy in politics is nothing new. Jamie, when I mention the name Brad Schimmel and Supreme Court, what do you remember most about that race last year?
I remember the money, and I remember him getting beat badly by Susan Crawford, even though Elon Musk came and raised a chainsaw on a stage and essentially tried to pay people to vote. That's what I remember the most about Brad Schimmel and that particular Supreme Court race.
Well, the thing you said first, money was the big headline in that race. It's always a headline. We were talking about it this year about how much less money was in the race compared to Brad Schimmel's race. So would it surprise you then to say that after the conservatives lost the other day for the Supreme Court, Brad Schimmel decides to come out and make a statement? He was doing an interview, and he pointed to party fundraising disparities and called a decade-old campaign finance rule passed by Republicans in the state a quote-unquote terrible law. This is what he said on WISN's Up Front over the weekend.
It's a terrible law. Now, I used it, of course, last year because I had to. We saw with Dan Kelly. He said he wouldn't take those contributions, and he got wildly outspent. I knew I had to do that.
So
at least he says the quiet part out loud for
good
us.
for me, not good for thee. This is a ridiculous law. The only thing ridiculous is they're not getting return on investment. If they were looking at the bottom line, the Republicans are losing money nonstop. But I thought it was hilarious that he was talking about this law that was signed by Scott Walker back in the day, allows donors, and you know how this works. Donors can contribute to the party, to the Democratic Party. And then the party kind of disperses the money to where they really think it needs to go. Individual donations to a state Supreme Court candidate are limited at $20,000, but there's no limit on the other money that can come into the party and then be pushed. I laugh at the bald-faced hypocrisy. And you're right. He did say the quiet part out loud. Well, of course, I used it. I did it. What am I going to do? It's the law. I can't. But it's a law that didn't work for me, so now I think it's ridiculous.
I just find it, I also find it really interesting that he's willing to throw his own party under the bus, right? Because as you mentioned, this was signed by Scott Walker. And it essentially shifted the power to the parties and all of the big money behind the scenes. And now the Republicans in the state of Wisconsin, after losing their fourth Supreme Court election in a row, are starting to see the impact of that, because this particular race didn't have the money attached to it at all that Brad Schimmel's race had attached to it. In fact, Chris Taylor raised about $6.2 million. Maria Lazar raised about $1.2 million. That's not really a small gap. That's actually a landslide in fundraising, and it showed up in the results. And Schimmel actually said something really interesting. At least I thought so. He was talking about how nowadays, when you're campaigning, Brian, it's not enough just to show up and do meet and greets in places like Eau Claire, Superior, and Green Bay. He said you have to mass communicate. He even went on to say that I didn't see any ads on TV for Maria Lazar. I actually did. I personally did. They were outnumbered greatly by Chris Taylor ads, which would make sense when you look at the spending. But that's that's in this digital age, what you got to do.
And also, listening to Schimmel's comments and looking back at these numbers, you go, well, if that's true that the party is who pumps the money into the campaign, do they not pump as much money into candidates they don't think have a chance? And maybe they didn't think Maria Lazar had a legitimate chance. I don't know. But if you're going by that formula where the party puts the money behind the candidates it believes in, she was outspent by $5 million. There's still money there, and there wasn't a lot of other things to put the money. I mean, What are you
Right.
saving it? You only have one gubernatorial candidate at this
Right.
point. Are you saving it all for the governor's
I'm going
race?
to assume that that's what they're going to do. That's my take on it. Now, I will say this, though. There is consternation throughout the state of Wisconsin among the Republicans to maybe change leadership at the state level. They are really not happy with the state leadership and the results that they've seen from these past elections. And I mean, here's what I'm going to say. Maybe that's the case, but you also have at very top of the ticket who's not really doing your party any favors either when you go all the way to the federal level. So I understand wanting to change leadership at a state level, but it really might not have much to do with who's leading the party at the state level. It might have to be who's in charge of the party overall or who's the face of the party.
The only thing that could make a difference is if the leaders of the state party, are viewed as less of lackeys to the federal level. You know, if you have Republicans that are thinking on their own and making decisions based on Wisconsin's priorities and not just acquiescing to the administration, that may help turn the tide, because I'm sure there's a lot of Republican voters in this state who are not happy with the way things are going and don't want to jump over to the Democratic side, but are like, boy, the Republicans aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. And so if you can find local people who are going to act independently and act in your best interest, that's where the money should be going.
Absolutely. And if you look at the shift,
and I don't want to give the Republicans campaign strategies, just to be clear.
I'm going to assume they probably aren't listening to us anyway. But at the same time,
their mistake.
When you look at the shift of what happened in this election in especially the very rural counties, there were counties that had in the 2024 presidential election voted for Donald Trump by a wide margin and actually swung all the way back to the other side for Chris Taylor in this particular election. Wood County is one of those examples. And even some of the counties that still voted for Maria Lazard on last Tuesday, the margin of from where they voted for Donald Trump to Maria Lazar had shrunk dramatically. So it tells me it might not have as much to do with maybe the money as perhaps the candidates that are being put up by the Republican Party. And in case you're wondering, the Republican Party of Wisconsin gave Maria Lazar's campaign about $164,000. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin contributed about $864,000 to Chris Taylor. So there was a really large discrepancy in this particular race. And when one side has significantly more money, the other party is going to lose control of the messaging. And I think that could also be said for the party with more money, though, right? Because the money then controls what that messaging is. And so I feel like anytime you're talking about this type of money, it gets to be a really dangerous game, no matter who's involved.
I worry about putting too much emphasis on the money because we saw it backfire. So the money, are you controlling the message if you're not successful? If we look back at last year's Supreme Court race, there was more money there than anybody had ever seen before, and the people with all the money did not control the message. They were defeated by, right-minded people who didn't. And maybe it was just because Wisconsin didn't like the fact that it was Elon coming in and everybody was trying to buy their vote and influence how they think. And Wisconsinites are very proud of the fact that they know what they think. They don't need a guy with a chainsaw coming in and telling them how to think. So maybe that contributed to the message not being as powerful by the money people. But I don't know. Money's a definite problem, but it's also not the only issue.
Alicia chiming in this morning on our YouTube chat saying Maria Lazar won Manitowoc County by less than 1%. Trump won by about 23, which is part of that swing I was talking about. We saw significant changes in the voting pattern from 2024 to last Tuesday. I thought it was really fascinating to see that sort of pivot for so many counties that had taken such a huge swing in just 2024. But I mean, I also find it really interesting that this law was introduced by the Republicans. So there's a little irony that now Democrats are using it much more effectively than the Republicans. So obviously both sides are always going to play the same game, but it's going to depend on who's playing the game a little bit better at the time.
Yeah, it's very it's interesting that the Democrats will play the money game, but they won't play the PR game that the Republicans play.
Right.
They won't play the battle, the actual fight that the Republicans play. But they will, you know, everybody likes spending money, especially when it's other people's money.
In the middle of all of this is the voters, though, because when you're spending the amount of money that we are on elections, just in general, I don't care what side of the aisle you're voting on, it becomes less about the actual idea and the candidates and more about who can afford it and who's going to be heard the most. And I think that's where we start losing track of our elections because the money starts driving messaging and it starts driving people's perception, and that influences outcomes. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't bring this up because I was actually a little shocked when I was listening to this Brad Schimmel interview last night. He actually broke with Donald Trump on election integrity claims, Brian. He contrasted the president, right? He contrasted President Trump's continued claims about election results. And here's what he had to say about election results.
The voters in our state need to see that. They need to see that you accept the results of an election, you move on. It's a peaceful process. I'm proud of Judge Lazar for how she handled herself.
I was shocked because Brad Schimmel has, in many cases, agreed with this administration and their ideas. And the fact that he was on up front, WISN's up front, basically saying elections are safe. People have to know that they can vote. They have to know that their vote is counted and it's fair, and you have to accept the results. It was a far departure from what we've seen from other Republicans in this state as well.
Yeah, I hesitate to give anybody credit for that, for being a huge, basically flip-flopper, seeing which way the wind is blowing.
Sure.
The winds are definitely blowing now, and you hear it from top Republicans, not only in across the country, but here in Wisconsin. The time has come where people are sick and tired of hearing that. Everybody knows the elections were not stolen.
Right.
It has been adjudicated countless times. So now it's like, ooh, if I stand behind that, I'm definitely going to be on the wrong side of history. It doesn't mean you believe it. It just means you are politically savvy enough to make that jump.
They also need to get their voters to the polls because they've spent so much time discussing the fact that things are rigged, your vote doesn't count, they're going to make sure that they win no matter what. And now their own voters are questioning the results, and you saw that in the turnout for the Republicans just last Tuesday.
Yeah.
Their turnout was not great. Dean chiming in on our text line, listening on WCFW this morning, saying, you need to remember Taylor had a better message. Sure, maybe, but we don't know that because we didn't see much from Lazard.
Right, and you're always inclined to look at your candidate's message more favorably, obviously, than the other one. So I'm sure there's some people who would disagree with Dean. I don't, but there are people who would. But yeah, just Schimmel, good for you coming out, throwing that hypocrisy around on a Sunday morning, getting everybody all excited.
When we come with your time.
Here's something to be excited about: more River Trail for cyclists. We'll talk about it on the Civic Media Network.
Yeah, I don't care. At this point, I don't care what their motivation for saying it is. I agree I don't like flip-flopping and going with the winds, but I don't care what the reason for saying it. Tell voters that the election results matter and they're safe because you've spent so much time doing the opposite. And I don't care why.
No, I just would like now follow-up questions to be,
yes.
Well, then why'd you spend so much time saying they weren't? Just nail them, call them out, make them say, make them cop to the fact that I was scared I'd get primaried. I didn't want the president mad at me. So whatever. Just nail them down a little bit.
I think there's going to be several reasons why they're going to change their tune. I think you're 100% right. I think that people are tired of hearing about it because we're still litigating it 6 years later. But I think at the same time, they have spent so much time weaponizing the elections that now their own voters won't turn out.
Right. Yeah, that's that is a huge issue.
And
you can't keep telling everybody something is horrible and then expect them to go and participate in that.
I mean, it was after the Schimmel and Crawford election that Derek Van Orden basically came out and said, and I have that quote somewhere where he literally said, and I'm going to paraphrase, our voters don't vote in spring elections, so I think we should just do away with them. Because, well, yeah, because this is how you've weaponized it against your own voters.
Yeah, man.
And again, that was a paraphrase, but it exists somewhere. Because I remember finding it and going, wow, okay, that's a thought.
That's right.
That does sound vaguely familiar.
Hey, we're going to lose if they try. If we keep these pesky elections, nobody's going to vote for us.
That was pretty much what he was saying. If we hold these elections, we're going to lose because, yikes.
Hmm.
Oh, my goodness. It's weird what happens when you actually look at how things work. There are flip-flops happening this morning.
Yeah.
There are
the
crop
pink.
tops.
Yeah.
It is a warm, humid morning. I don't know. We were in Milwaukee on Saturday helping Max with his tire, and there was a girl who obviously thought it was much warmer than it was, and she was cold while she was running.
10 seconds to our back.
From Lake Superior to Lake Michigan, this is Wisconsin's Morning Conversation. Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
6:52 right now. We hope that your morning is going well. Thank you so much for joining us. We always appreciate it. Hey, if you want to check us out on social media, find out all of the cool things that we're up to, not only on the show, but, sometimes behind the scenes, we'd love for you to follow us on our Facebook page, also Instagram. Just do a search for Daybreak with Brian and Jamie. I am the Jamie of that portion, by the way.
That would, I guess, make me the Brian. The Mississippi River Trail, I've driven along it and seen the signs. It is beautiful as you go down the Mississippi River from Minnesota. It's about 3,000 miles from Minnesota all the way down to Louisiana. Winds through forested canopies, past farms. Oh, it's very idyllic as you drive along. Mm-hmm. Also a big place for cyclists. Do you ride a bike, Jamie?
I do not. There's actually a funny story with that. I was never great on a bicycle. And in fact, when I was little, on my tricycles and my little Hot Wheels, I went backwards everywhere. And so biking never really my thing. I had a hard time figuring out brakes, and it was a thing.
All right. I haven't ridden my bike in a while. Because I will not ride it on city streets.
I gotcha.
Forget it. But
I wish I was more coordinated.
I like being, that's always, you don't want to pull a Joe Biden and just be sitting at an intersection and just fall over. Ah,
yeah. Yep, so exactly.
not a great moment for the former president. But then this is karma, because I was laughing at that. I was laughing at him about that. How do you just fall when you're not even moving? Fast forward to a couple weeks later, I pull up somewhere, and I was just coming off an argument with somebody about wearing a helmet. So I was wearing a helmet, and I don't know how it happened. As I'm slowing down to stop, I just fell over. I'm like, what the? How is
Why
this?
you never
how is
say
this
the things
possible?
out loud that you're thinking because it
my
always
God.
comes back to you.
But I like riding on trails. I like riding
Sure.
through the forest and things like that. So I was very excited to see that Governor Evers signed into
Yeah.
law bipartisan legislation that designated 250-mile bike trail along the western border of the state, just in time for the bicycling season. So this is a pretty big deal. It finally closes up the multi-state trail because after other states along the route did the same thing, this includes funding for signs marking the trail. The designation means that the Department of Transportation will likely expand the paved shoulders on Highway 35 at least 5 feet, which is good because
Yeah.
you start driving down these 2-lane beautiful country roads and somebody's on a bike, and it's got to be nerve-wracking for the cyclist. And
Yep.
although, and please cyclists, don't at me, I got enough issues. A lot of cyclists don't seem to be very cognizant of cars. They believe they are the only vehicles on the road. For a driver, it's like, oh man, don't let this bike decide to come out into the lane. And so a nice 5-foot shoulder.
I love that. And if you've
That's
ever
great.
taken that drive, it's along a river. So it
Yes.
curves and it's windy, and you never know if you're going to come around that curve and see a cyclist. And that always terrifies me.
Yes,
We've-
because there's
we've got-
not a lot of room for them on their right either, because
Right.
it's the shoulder and then down to the
Yeah.
river.
We've got Chad chiming in over on our Facebook chat this morning. He says, as a competitive road biker, I ride way too much. I could learn a thing or two from Chad because I am not great on a bicycle. It's one of those things in life I regret not doing better or learning, like actually taking the time to learn better as a kid. Why I went backwards on everything,
Yeah,
I
that's-
don't know.
Riding a bike
My-
is kind of
My
a.
mom can't explain it at all. She just quit trying a long
Well,
time ago.
I know, like
but-
kids, when they start crawling, they go backwards.
Oh, no, I went backwards on my
and-
bike
and,
by trying.
you know,
Yeah.
Wow.
No,
Parker,
it
do
was
you ride
not
a
good.
bike?
No, not quite the same as Jamie, but I similarly did not really get into it as a kid. I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God. We rode our
Yeah.
bikes everywhere. I spent my entire young adulthood up until I could drive on a bike, riding it everywhere.
I tried so hard. It was just not great for me. It was a coordination thing or something. I don't know, but it just never came together for me. It was puzzling for my entire family. What I love
Wow.
about
I'm shocked. I don't know people who don't ride a bike. Molly was my daughter, so eager to ride a bike. Her kindergarten spring break, that's all we did was work every day so she could ride a bike.
My kids were the same way. Once they took off and they
Wow.
got their wheels, they were on them all the time. I know my husband, he talks about having his bike as a kid. It was a coordination thing. It just never came to me
Wow.
as easily. And I literally wanted to go backwards. I remember on family walks, my parents would be ahead of me and they would actually turn me so I was facing the wrong way, because then I could ride my tricycle with them with my little bell, chinka 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 ding 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 all the way. But I was facing the wrong way through the whole thing.
Did they ever have you sit backwards on the track? I
They
feel
ever
like
had
that'd
you
be fun.
tested?
Well,
They probably should have done that. I don't know what it was. It was a
That's
very,
wild.
very strange thing. I could not ride forward on my tricycles. I was
Wow.
okay on a bicycle. I just was never super comfortable on my bicycle because I just had this affinity for wanting to push the pedals the wrong way. So I just never got comfortable on them.
That is,
I know. It's
I've
very
never heard
wild.
I've never heard
How
to
my
have
brain
two
works.
people out of the four of us not be able to ride a bike. There's no way I would have guessed that any of us couldn't ride a bike.
It's a scary place diving into how my brain works. I don't advise it for most people very
Wow.
often.
All right. Well, listen, but it's good news for those of you who want to go forward on a
Yes.
bike, because
Yes,
now
please
it'll
do
be,
that.
it's going to have the portion of the trail that's going to be in Wisconsin, the extra 250 miles are going to go through 4 different state parks. So you
Oh,
can
love
get
that.
out and it's going to be terrific.
Yeah, it's gonna be
one of those things. I now have to I want to get a rack so I can take my bike to a place where I
Yeah.
can, because I'm by a lot of forest preserves and trails
Yeah.
and stuff, but I don't want to ride on. We don't have shoulders on the roads
on
around
the
here.
road. No,
It's
that's
very
dangerous.
narrow 2-laners, and I don't. No thanks.
It also
No
helps the
thanks.
economy, which I think we can all get behind too, which is also pretty cool. Brings more people to our great state to check
That's
it out.
terrific.
Love
When we
that.
come back, headlines from Iran and around here. We got stuff you need to know and a whole lot more as hour 2 kicks off. I'm Brian Noonan. This is Daybreak.
I'm Jamie Martinson at 6:59 right now, and this is the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Chad saying, Chad, I just want to say one thing. Life is hard, but we could do hard things. Oh, Chad. I don't know. I feel like there's video involved if I try to do this.
Yeah, it could be that you have to let go. Sometimes you just get to a point that one's not getting done.
I'd make myself a meme is what would happen. Although every once in a while we have this discussion because Corey's like, Corey really would love to get bikes. And he's like, you could probably figure it out. I'm like, yeah, I could probably figure it out. Yeah, they always say, the old sayings like riding a bike. Yeah, well, it never came easy to me the first time. So.
Yeah, and I'm not super super coordinated, super athletic. I can do all that kind of stuff. But a bike was always just like, man, we'd just go.
Yeah, I don't know.
My blue Stingray with the big banana seat. That was the first bike. Boom.
My mom and dad used to laugh at me because I had one of when I was really small, I had like the Hot Wheels, right? And I went backwards on that with my little flag. I had a Dukes
your
of Hazzard.
big wheel?
Yep, my big wheel. I had the Dukes of Hazzard big wheel, had flags on it, all that good stuff. Then I had a tricycle, and I had one of those Radio Flyer metal tricycles.
Yep. With the step on the back, so you
That's
get
what
up to
I
the
had.
seat.
And then it had my little bell on it. So everywhere I went, I would ding my little bell. And no, I went backwards on it everywhere. Just tooling down the sidewalk the wrong direction. I don't know why. Which is funny because then I was in things like dance and I had coordination to do all of that. It was, I don't know, for some reason it just never sat in my brain well. My mom quit trying to even explain it at one point. She was like, I don't know why you're like you are. Because see, my mom was also, growing up, my family lived out on Lake Mitchell. My mom, and at the time, it was all country. So my mom would get on her bike and ride into town during the day because it was when they built that house, when she was a little girl, it was considered far out in the country. And so she was always on a bike. My dad was a farm kid, so he was always on a bike. He rode horses and things. So my dad would always shake his head and say, you're just an anomaly. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was just so ingrained in our lives. I mean, everybody I knew, that's how we got around. That's what we did. We just rode our bikes.
Yeah. And I did. It just, I wasn't as good on it as my friends.
Well, and even in college, I didn't have a car. So,
Yeah.
everywhere I wanted to go, I would take my bike.
I had a car. I bought my first car when I was a senior in high school or right out of college. I can't remember. But I bought my own car. So I had a car in college and I went to really small campuses. So we were able to just walk across campus very, very quickly.
Well, it was just like to get into town or if you had to get all the way across.
Yeah.
I was on the far western side of campus and, if you had, and it's always fun to just zip around on your bike.
Yeah, we walked everywhere because our campuses were small and you could, my first year of school, which was a little bit bigger campus than when I transferred, it was still only probably about a 10-minute walk from the farthest end of the campus to the gym portion. So it was probably still only about a 10-minute walk. So we just walked everywhere. Now I hike all the time. I'm always out hiking.
So your feet work, but
yes,
they don't translate to anything
really
else.
crabby yesterday because it was a perfect day to be out on the trails, but it was so wet. And I was like, oh, and I don't mind getting muddy. I mind getting Aspen muddy because then I have to take her home and clean her. So, and if she sees me take the one pair of shoes out, she knows it's hiking. And if she sees me get the backpack out, because then I have her water and treats and things in there and bug spray and stuff. And so I just wear a backpack. So if she sees me get that out, she knows it's hiking. And if I would have left her home, she would have sat by the car door and just howled because she loves to hike.
Yeah.
So that sucks. And she's the best little hiking companion ever. She is so brave. She doesn't care. She loves to go off trails. She loves to go in the deepest weeds. We have a blast. And usually if we go out, it's like it's not just like a walk. It's like an excursion. We're going to be out all day.
Well, yeah. This is the dog that needs a 2-mile walk.
She does. We did do that yesterday. She was so mad because she had to put her boots on. And then she got outside and she realized how wet everything was. I was like, see, told you.
Mom's always right.
You don't like wet feet.
Right. Got about 15 seconds here.
Wisconsin wakes up here. Back to Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
7:06 right now. We hope that your morning is going well so far. Some sunshine in Madison after a night of storms. And if you thought those storms were going to be the last of it, no. Mother Nature does have more possibly in store for a good majority of the state as far as some potential severe weather. So please stay weather aware. It's also Severe Weather Awareness Week. So I feel like we should be extra on our toes right now. And we do have tornado drills scheduled in the state for Thursday, 1:45 and 6:45 p.m. So if you do hear those sirens, it's not more severe weather. It is just a test. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. You might hear those sirens today, though. If you want to jump in and talk about anything we're talking about, join us, 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. All right, let's see what's happening over in Iran and the Persian Gulf, because as you know, we are still at war. We're ceasefire, maybe. I don't know. It's it's hard to tell when there's still threats and things happening, but well, the standoff between the United States and Iran deepened today as the U.S. declared it had blockaded Iran's ports. It doesn't sound like a ceasefire. Tehran threatened to strike targets across the region, and Pakistan said it was racing to bring the sides together for more talks.
Also doesn't sound like things are de-escalating like we are being told. Also this morning, shortly after that blockade was set to begin, President Trump warned on social media that Iranian warships that come anywhere close to the U.S. blockade will be destroyed by a quick, brutal strike. Hours later, though, the president said that he had spoken to the other side. We're going to put that in air quotes because that's what he said, suggesting that he was still willing to engage with Iran.
He's all bluster. No muster.
No.
The Israeli military is pushing ahead with air and ground offensives in southern Lebanon, engaging in fierce fighting with Hezbollah militants over a strategic town, while the Lebanese militant group fires rockets and drones at northern Israel. A senior Hezbollah official said it will not abide by any agreements that may result from direct Lebanon-Israel talks set to start today in Washington.
And finally, French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer will co-chair a conference Friday in Paris, bringing together non-belligerent nations willing to participate in a mission in the Strait of Hormuz when, quote, security conditions allow. Boy.
I'm guessing we are not one of those non-belligerent nations.
I'm going to guess the United States has not been invited to this particular conference that's going to be taking place. First of all, it's going to be full of U.S. allies, which we know we've alienated so many of them. And at this point, we're probably not going to have a seat at that particular table. That's my guess. Maybe the U.S. has been invited. I haven't heard for sure, but I'm going to say that they're not going to be there.
Yes. Well, we're very belligerent. Tom texting in, have you mentioned how many people in Wisconsin are without power? We have mentioned it. We're going to mention it again because that is part of the stuff you need to know.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
All right, well, the first thing you need to know is that, as Jamie mentioned before, Mother Nature is not done with us. Southern Wisconsin is under an enhanced risk for severe storms today that could include tornadoes, according to forecasters. On the National Weather Service 1 to 5 scale, Southern Wisconsin is under a 3 for today. That's pretty high. On Tuesday, that means high confidence that several severe storms will contain damaging winds, severe hail, and or tornadoes. The western portion of southern Wisconsin on Wednesday, that's tomorrow, will be under another slight risk with no enhanced risk anywhere in the state. With 1 to 3 inches more of rain expected throughout the week, flash flooding will be possible, according to the National Weather Service. And as of 5 o'clock this morning, almost 12,000 customers in Dane County and 80,000 customers across Wisconsin are still without power.
Yeah, so please just be weather aware over the next few days because this will be our first bout of severe weather for the season. We know that we will see more, but this is always the one that takes people by surprise, especially when it's this early in the season.
Do you actually use a weather radio? I know when we had Corey on last week,
Yep.
do you have it? So
yes, we have several, actually.
It just continue. I've always, everybody says you should have one. It's just the National Weather Service feed telling you what's happening?
And they have to be programmed for your certain area, and you can always get help. You can always ask people. There are several different entities that will help program those if you don't follow the directions. Because sometimes the directions don't make a lot of sense when you're programming those. So you can always get some help. But we always have weather radios. We have one in our house. Now, we don't leave it running all the time, but if we know that there's a threat for severe weather, we turn it on, especially in the overnight hours because it will wake us. And we also have portable ones if we're going to be out camping or if we are going to be out. If you were listening to the show within the show, I love to be out on hiking trails. If there is a chance for some severe weather, I'll always take a portable one and keep it in the backpack too, just in case, I need to know what's going on so I can get to the car if I need to. In other headlines of stuff you need to know, a Minnesota county is investigating the arrest of a Hmong American man by federal officers that was captured on video as a potential case of kidnapping, burglary, and false imprisonment, according to those officials in an announcement they made yesterday. Ramsey County Attorney John Choi and Sheriff Bob Fletcher said at a news conference that they are pursuing information from the Department of Homeland Security that they need for their investigation into the arrest of Chong Lee Scott Tao, 56, on January 18th. Now, Ramsey County includes the state capital of St. Paul. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officers bashed open the front door of Tao's St. Paul home at gunpoint without a warrant, as far as Choi and Fletcher have been able to determine, then let him outside in just his underwear and a blanket in freezing conditions. You might have actually remembered seeing that because those photos floated on social media and there were news reports of this. Now, DHS, which oversees ICE, has refused so far to cooperate with Ramsey County or with other state and local investigations into the killings of federal officers of 2 U.S. citizens in Minneapolis during the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. ICE does not kidnap people, the agency in a statement that called Ramsey County's announcement nothing but a political stunt to demonize ICE law enforcement. Now, the ICE statement did not address the county's request for evidence. It did assert, though, that investigators, quote, concluded sexual predator targets had ties to the property, something that Tao and his family deny. Wow.
That was powerful imagery when that happened.
It was.
And we made a big deal of it.
And none of the statements coming from the federal government based on what they have said about those immigration crackdowns should surprise us. And based on how they've wanted to participate in the state investigations, that also shouldn't shock anybody that, surprise, they're not helping this time around either.
In other things you need to know, Democratic Representative Eric Swalwell announced yesterday he planned to resign from Congress following explosive allegations of sexual misconduct against him. The announcement from the California Democrat comes as he faced a just-announced House ethics investigation and mounting pressure on both sides of the aisle for him to step down. Swalwell, who has denied the allegations, had already suspended his California gubernatorial bid, though he did not tamp down the calls that he leave his job. The congressman was also confronting the prospect of a vote on the House floor to expel him. CNN and the San Francisco Chronicle reported last week that a former staffer accused Swalwell of sexual assault, describing a night of drinking that ended with him having sex with her when she could not consent. In addition to that allegation of sexual assault, 3 other women who spoke with CNN alleged other sexual misconduct. Swalwell has strongly and repeatedly denied allegations of sexual assault. His planned resignation marks a remarkable swift political downfall. He was elected to Congress in 2012. California Democrat quickly rose within the ranks of his party. He was regularly on television alongside leadership. He was part of his party's most high-profile political battles on Capitol Hill and made a brief run for president in the 2020 election, and now he's gone.
This was one of the quickest moves I've ever seen from when the news broke, what was it, late Friday afternoon, Friday evening, to the downfall yesterday.
Well, and that was the fourth. I mean, that was the fourth allegation. So it was there had been rumblings, but this last one really brought everything to a head.
Yeah, and I don't know, when it comes to moments like this, perhaps right now our senses are a little bit more heightened because of the Epstein files. But I think voters are really at this point watching leadership to see how they're going to handle these types of situations. And for Democrats, based on the things they've said about the Epstein files, I think that this was a real test because they've been calling for accountability. Mm-hmm. And I think this was a moment where they had to literally show it, which I don't know. If you're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to build trust, whatever, I'm sure all of the motives are in play. But I found this to be one of the swiftest actions I had seen as far as a leader, a representative in Congress, because it went fast.
And spoiler alert, we have another story next hour.
We do.
Oh,
we
yeah,
do.
Yeah, sure. It's never ending. If you've bought tickets on StubHub, you've probably, as you checked out, cursed the fees and everything else. Well, StubHub is going to have to pay $10 million to ticket purchasers to settle charges for violating federal rules about unfair and deceptive fees. The FTC announced on April 9th that StubHub will pay $10 million to settle charges for, quote, deceptively advertising ticket prices on its website without clearly and conspicuously disclosing upfront how much consumers actually would pay, including all the mandatory fees. Now, the settlement only involves tickets purchased from May 12th to 14th, 2025. So I guess they were fine all the time except those 2 days. But anyway, the announcement comes after the agency sent StubHub a warning letter on May 14th of last year, which found that the retailer was displaying inaccurate ticket prices for the 2025 NFL season. In its official complaint, the FTC noted that available tickets for a Philadelphia Eagles versus Dallas Cowboys game in November were initially listed at $236 each when consumers looked at the ticket prices on the website. However, after selecting the tickets, consumers learned that the actual cost was $319 due to a $59 fee and $24 in taxes. If you purchase tickets from StubHub between those dates, May 12th to 14th, 2025, you are eligible for the settlement. StubHub will have reached out to you. If you purchase those tickets, they're going to send you additional information about the settlement. You don't need to take any action. They'll let you know, and guess what? You'll get a little, maybe $3 in the mail. I've had a couple of those class action things where like, ooh, this is it. Daddy's finally cashing in.
It's like
Daddy's not even buying a cup of coffee. Daddy ain't.
$1.50.
Daddy is still flat busted.
It's not even worth a trip to the bank to take care of that check, to cash it, deposit it, right? Because
that's how most of my residual checks are, too. It's like, really? You sent me a check for 37 cents, and I wish I was exaggerating. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank God now with the app you could just
Right?
apply. I don't have to go to the bank or anything.
Right, exactly. But I mean, the ticket companies have been doing this for years. This has been such an ongoing issue
racket.
for so long. And honestly, great. All right, there was one class action lawsuit. You know that they're going to keep doing it. They're going to find other ways to continue to make us pay
But
extra.
big ticket will crush you. Look what they did to Pearl Jam. You can't
I
fight the
know.
power. If you want to see a
No.
show, you got to get the tickets. Hey,
Curse you,
Swiper
Live
Stay is
Nation.
next. I didn't read. I saw some headlines. I didn't read stories yesterday because I was like, oh, I bet Frank is going to bring those to the table.
I try not to.
It's very hard, though. You're like, ooh, I wonder what this is about. Anyway, we'll find out with Swiper Stay next. It's Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. It is 7:19 right now, and this is the Civic Media Network. Let's see. We've got Matt in Eau Claire over on the text line saying, I just watched a piece on Trump's rants against the Pope. From the images I saw, it's clear where the friction comes from. This is a chronic case of, quote, marble envy, and it's giving the president, quote, pontiff derangement syndrome. Okay, I'll go with that. PDS.
He's a doctor, though. He wasn't pretending to be Jesus. He's pretending to be a doctor.
That was so funny.
God, he's so full of shit.
And Tom from Hartford saying the sea crane weather radios do not need to be programmed. Don't have experience with those. That's not the kind that we have always used, but I will take your word for it. Any weather radio is a good weather radio.
I had heard those used to be advertised on WGN radio all the time.
Yeah, the
sea crane weather radio.
Yeah. That is not what we use. We had partnerships with a couple of different weather radios through the Severe Studio stuff. So that's
Wow, those sea cranes are not cheap.
No, weather radios aren't cheap in general.
Well, I would say that's why you listen to local radio, but only from
everybody
6 to
covers-
9 or 6 to
Not
9
On
or
the
5 to
Civic
7.
Media Network.
Yeah.
Not everybody covered. Also, here's the other thing I'll say. You have no idea how maddening it is when we'll be chasing and we'll go through some of those local markets and they actually have people on the air. And nobody's talking about the weather as we're driving through chasing hail and tornadoes. And we'll be like, what is happening?
I love being on the air when there's severe radio
Oh,
or
yeah.
severe weather.
I love
Severe
doing
radio.
I love doing
Well, it's
coverage.
always severe radio.
I love doing coverage.
Put that on a T-shirt.
Weather coverage is fun. I
you
think
get
that's the
me?
worst part about what we do with Severe Studios too is because we watch weather all over. So, and obviously our chasers are doing some of the worst of the worst. And that's always really hard watching the radar and knowing that there's a town that's just about to get,
Yeah.
because we'll see the debris ball and we'll see all the signatures on radar and there's absolutely nothing we can do.
We got 10 seconds here.
Solar-powered weather radio with a dial.
Let's break out of the bubble and see what's happening out there in pop culture. It's Swipe or Stay on Daybreak.
7:22 right now. Thank you for joining us today. It is time for Swipe or Stay. This is where we're going to talk about things not in the political headlines, and we're going to talk about some pop culture, which is always a little bit more exciting and a little bit more fun. Our senior producer, Frank, joins us. Good morning. How are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
Lovely. What do you got?
Just beautifully. You've got some great stories coming up for you
can't
guys.
wait. Like
know.
I said, I saw a lot of headlines. I did not delve in yesterday, so I don't know what any
tried to
stories
stay
might
out.
be.
Hopefully we align on some of these things. So
All right.
we're going to play Swipe or Stay. I'm going to read some pop culture headlines to Brian and Jamie. They're going to have to decide whether they want to stay and hear more or if they want to swipe on to the next one. Producer Parker gets to be the tiebreaker if we get there. So without further ado, and my document signed out of itself, so we're going to sign back in real
Oh,
quick.
don't you love Google Drive?
Why does Google do that?
That happened to me this morning too, Frank.
Google.
Yeah, but yours didn't say it as soon as your segment started, sir.
This is true. That's a
That's
good
it.
point.
All right. We didn't get to it yesterday, but
All
a
right.
certain female sports journalist is now under investigation.
Is it
I'm
the one who
gonna
was making out with Vrabel? I guess I'd have to stay.
It might be.
I'm going to stay.
I'll stay too.
Now, we have no confirmation that she was making out, Brian.
That's true. Allegedly,
We cannot say.
Can we say
Fingers interlocked?
canoodling? Can we say canoodling?
Canoodling is good because
All right.
fingers were interlocked.
Interlocked
yes.
fingers. Canoodling.
Now, if you haven't seen the pictures of Diana Rossini and Mike Vrabel or haven't heard us talk about it, I implore you to go look them up. There is a picture
I
where
implore you.
Patriots head coach Mike Vrabel and the Athletic reporter Diana Rossini have their fingers interlocked, holding hands. Now, if you don't think that's weird, if you're a male, find a female coworker, find any coworker in general, and go interlock hands. Look each other in the eye, and then you make that decision for yourself.
I'm good.
It's
HR
weird.
It is.
So we have an update to the story. The Athletic has announced that they will be investigating Rossini's relationship with Mike Vrabel. Katie Robertson, the media reporter for the New York Times, which owns The Athletic, says, according to the person familiar with The Athletic's investigation, the nature of Miss Rossini's relationship with Mr. Vrabel and her coverage are being reviewed, and she will not be reporting while the investigation is underway. Now, we do have the NFL draft coming up, and you're probably wondering what's going on his side, right?
Yeah, because that doesn't seem right. It takes
Business
2 to
as
tango.
usual. The draft is coming up.
Didn't I see, though, that they've cut him off completely from all media during the draft? He won't be addressing the press in any way. I thought I saw that come across my feed yesterday
There was a headline yesterday that
Okay.
he wasn't appearing for a Monday press conference. But then the Patriots came out and said he was never confirmed to come out and make that scheduled appearance.
Oh, Robert Kraft is the owner. He's got ties to massage parlors. We know that we'll probably see Vrabel at some point.
Wow, that is a jump.
My point is
that one is not alleged.
No, that's not
point is-
alleged. It's just a jump to interlocked fingers and a Thai massage parlor in Florida.
My point to that is I don't see Robert Kraft being like we're gonna just not let him speak to the press. I don't see him finding much wrong with what's going on. Is my point.
Now, when you look at these two things, and Katie Robertson for the New York Times in her article goes on to explain why journalistic integrity is so important in all these things. When it comes to Mike Vrabel and his standards, it's to go win football games. So very different, like, code of conduct.
Sure. Wow.
Okay.
We have a pop star that has voluntarily entered herself into rehab.
I saw this headline, so I'm going to stay.
Stay.
I gotta get the deets.
Yeah.
I mean this with the most love and respect. But finally, Britney Spears has checked herself into rehab. A source close to her said that she realized she had hit rock bottom. Britney has had issues with drugs, in particular Adderall and alcohol, for many years. During her many trips to Mexico, she made it a point to go replenish her Adderall supply. Another anonymous source says she knows strategically this will look good in front of the judge and that she's taking this very seriously. If you remember, she's up for an alleged DUI trial that's coming up, so she wants to look good in front of the judge, too. So hopefully Britney gets some help. I know we freed her a little bit with the Free Britney moment. We probably maybe shouldn't have.
I miss her crazy foyer dancing.
Is somebody going to seriously, though? It's a serious question. She needs some mental health help, right?
She does.
I get going to rehab, but at some point, I think she also has to acknowledge that, and it's going to have to be her call for sure. But
I think they work on that in rehab too, though.
I hope she keeps it up for her sake. I'll just be honest.
She went voluntarily, so that's a
good
really
news.
good sign, right?
That is good news. Yeah.
We have the 2026 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees.
Swipe.
You guys don't care?
It's always awful.
What do you mean?
All right, Jamie swiped. I'll stay. It's up to Parker.
All right.
Parker, do you want to hear who is inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame this year?
Frank, I'm sorry. I'm going to break your heart. I'm swiping.
I hate all of you.
Comper von
You all
Beethoven.
suck.
No, you mean Brian.
Who
Brian
else
No,
is in it?
it's fine.
No.
We're swiping. Former Canadian politician has a famous night out.
I do know this one. We'll stay.
Famous politician. Canadian. Syrup Mounties. I'll stay.
This is what we're going to say for, huh? We're going to say for Justin Trudeau's night out with Katy Perry. Okay.
Yeah, we are.
Right.
Yeah.
Because I'm hoping you got another
Co-
Katy Perry story.
Was
we won't
Coachella,
get to it
wasn't
anyway.
She was out there
Canoodling.
with Katy Perry. They were sitting on the ground eating a cup of island noodles at the festival. If you've ever been to a music festival, you know what I'm talking about.
Oh,
They're
they were
delicious.
at Coachella.
Yeah.
Yes, but I never thought I'd say that sentence out loud, especially on the radio, that Justin Trudeau and Katy Perry were at Coachella together, and he was wearing a backwards hat eating a cup of island noodles.
And a white t-shirt. And a white
And a
t-shirt.
plain white tee.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely band from the early
Yeah,
aughts.
too bad we won't hear who's inducted to the Hall of Fame. That's Swiper Stay.
Wow.
Thanks, Frank. Sorry
Yeah,
to
you're
disappoint you, but it's, whatevs. Midwest farmers having trouble if they're growing soybeans. We'll talk about it on the Civic Media Network.
All right. Sorry, Frank.
How do you not care? The Rock and
because
Roll Hall.
the
Aren't you
Rock
a
and
little,
Roll
aren't you a
Hall
little
of
bit
Fame.
curious? I get it. This is basically a break for the live stream. How do you not? I get that it's a thing, but I feel like it's so weird sometimes that I want to know who's inducted every year.
I used to be like that, and then it started getting weird, and some of the acts started not being like Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, because I think maybe it's the name that gets me, because the acts that are being inducted are all from all over the music genre now, which I love and I appreciate.
All right, Gene Simmons.
But then you need to change the name of it to something else that's not rock and roll, because when you're inducting Queen Latifah and Missy Elliott, that's no longer Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? Like, it's, I don't know.
Wu-Tang
Maybe I'm a
Clan got
stickler-
in this year.
Maybe I'm a stickler for words. Yes, the
Wu-Tang is for
thing.
the children
Wu-Tang is forever.
and
Yes.
forever.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just putting too much emphasis on the actual words, but I don't know.
You and those words.
I know.
Damn English language.
Oops, this girl just fell off the curb.
What?
She
A runner?
Yeah, she was jogging, and I think she was going to try to make it before this line of cars came, and so she went out, and like she fell, like she didn't fall, but she had to catch herself.
And she
does
to
not
which she
look
said
happy
to
to be
herself,
stopped right now.
I'm glad nobody saw that.
Yeah, you're right, Parker. She did not look happy to have to be stopped,
And street cam.
and it obviously didn't hurt her. Off she goes. Like she had one break and she was gone. It's like a version of Frogger out there.
The resilience of youth.
I cannot wait for this pre-record because I need to go to the bathroom so bad.
It's little things that make us happy.
Parker, you should have taken care of that before the show.
Oh, yeah, it's the pre-record. I forgot about
Yeah.
the pre-record.
Let's see. Kurt from Eau Claire, listening on CFW, says, how about a solar-powered weather radio with a dial? No programming there.
Well, the thing about solar,
I've
is
never
usually
used-
it's cloudy when there's severe
and
weather.
Yeah,
I've
during
never used-
storms, it gets really dark.
And I don't use solar power because if I've got like my portable one, and I know they exist, but if I got a portable one and I'm out in the middle of trees and stuff, hiking in a state park, I'm not getting much signal to my weather radio.
I say we just run wires straight from the space station, straight to your radio.
Phil Collins got inducted, just in case anybody wants.
Sue.
Frank's just going to be slipping in names for the next hour and a half.
Billy Idol.
All of a sudden, during
Sorry.
the pre-record, you're just going to hear a random name.
No, I'm just going to start playing the music.
Ah.
At least Billy Idol fits the criteria of Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Mr. Plow King says Iron Maiden.
Iron Maiden did make it in.
He did,
Thank
they
you,
did.
Mr. Plow King. As did Oasis.
Oh.
What do you mean, oh?
He had 2 songs.
I think I
That
deleted
is
everything out of it.
absolutely not true. At all.
Oh,
Was Phil Collins already in with Genesis?
Yes.
yes. Hey, they probably figured they have to get Phil in before he passes away because his health is so bad.
Don't.
It is bad.
It is really bad.
Peter Gabriel was better in Genesis than Phil Collins. Okay, I'm leaving on that.
Wow.
Wow.
Hot take, prog rocker.
Hot take. Wow.
Better solo career too. Okay, now I'm out.
Whoa!
I don't know about that part.
Oh, hey!
I don't know about that part.
Whoa!
Oh,
No jacket required. Come on.
What did Sal from Sun Prairie need?
I don't know. It was while I was
Okay.
doing the stuff.
Gotcha. Call back, Sal.
Yes. But not when I'm in the bathroom, please. Really? Please.
Speaking of, since we're close.
15 seconds.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We always appreciate it. We hope you are having a great start to your day. You are listening to the Civic Media Network. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. Under current Wisconsin law, if a person is in the hospital and can no longer make medical decisions for themselves, and they haven't designated anyone to make those decisions, they stay in the hospital until the courts can appoint a guardian, which could take weeks or months. Now, this leads to lengthy stays, taking up valuable bed space in hospitals. A bill signed last month by the legislature aims to change that. Joining us to share the details is John Helter. He's Vice President of Federal Affairs and Advocacy for the Wisconsin Hospital Association. John, thanks for being here. A report in the Journal Sentinel cited a Wisconsin Ethics Commission report that said Wisconsin health systems, hospitals, and industry trade groups like your own collectively spent more than 400 hours lobbying to get this bill signed. Why is this such an important issue to hospital groups and hospitals across the state?
Well, thank you for having me on, Brian. Yeah, it is a very important issue. It's an issue that we've spent time, not just this current session, but even the previous session, trying to get passed. I think for a couple of reasons, which you kind of cited right there. I think number one, for our hospital discharge planners that are working with patients, they see patients come to the hospital, time and again, and they experience a process that's just kind of broken for them, right? So for the hospital discharge planner that's there with the family comes to the hospital, they're just trying to help their loved one get the right care. And it can be very, very difficult on them. When you're going through an episode in the hospital, just to begin with, it can be a lot where you're just trying to help your family member get the right care. And then you run into this obstacle that you hadn't planned for. Maybe it's your husband, and it can kind of come as a shock as the wife that you just don't have the ability to help them get that next step of care, whether it's in a nursing home or an assisted living center. So I would say that's the number one reason for the patients that this affects and get delays in getting post-acute care. But I think the other reason is, as you also kind of alluded to, we've just seen these bottlenecks in our hospital system over the last few years where it's just not working right. And we're trying to think, what can we do to open up access to care, to get people into the hospital and out of the hospital in a timely manner so they're not needlessly experiencing delays. And this is an issue that contributes to it. So, there can be a variety of reasons why someone can't get access to post-acute care, but this is one of those, the delays that people experience. And so when you've got somebody in the hospital that doesn't need to be there and the hospital's running at capacity, that also means that's a barrier to somebody getting in and getting care in that bed.
John, from a patient perspective, is it better for recovery to move to a nursing home sooner?
Yeah, well, I think the thing is, hospitals by and large were not designed to be that long-term stay for patients, right? Hospitals are designed to be a short-term stay where you get in, you get the care that you need, you get stabilized, and then, hopefully you can get home. But if you can't get home, we have other places of care that are designed to care for patients. So the whole word long-term care facility, I mean, it says it right there. Like, that is designed for a patient to be in a longer-term care setting. And so oftentimes these patients, when they're in the hospital for that time period, they're not getting access to the same type of long-term care supports that you're designed to get, whether it's a recuperative, rehabilitative stay or a long-term stay in a long-term care facility like a nursing home or an assisted living center.
John Helter's our guest. He's Vice President of Federal Affairs and Advocacy for Wisconsin Hospital Association. WHA.org is their website. Anybody who's had to deal with, like you said, going into the hospital, the last couple weeks with my mom has been that way. And you see, thankfully, she didn't have to deal with that. But because of overcrowding and the bottleneck, you see people in the emergency room for a day, sometimes two. That's not as unusual as you would hope it should be. So what changes does this bill bring to kind of expedite all that and to change the paradigm of the hospital?
Yeah, that's a great question. So under current law, if you don't have that power of attorney for healthcare signed where you designate someone to be able to make that decision, typically you're going to have to wait till the court goes through the guardianship hearing, right? And you might have to hire attorneys. There can be, legal fees and all sorts of those things. The whole idea behind the bill was, if we don't need to put the family through that, then let's not do that, right? And let's just allow someone to be designated, and we choose from a hierarchy, right? There's already a next of kin hierarchy in the statute for things like organ donation, hospice, a few other sections. So we basically just take that same hierarchy and then we go from there. And if that person is able and willing to be the one designated to make that decision, then they're going to be allowed to make that decision to help that person get care in the nursing home or assisted living center. So that's basically how it works. And it doesn't require you to file for guardianship, whereas current law does. However, we totally recognize there's going to be situations where maybe there isn't a next of kin available, or maybe the family just can't come to an agreement on who that person should be. And so by no means are we trying to make this something that everyone has to use. The guardianship statute still stays in place, so literally anyone can file for a guardianship, and then the courts can help them navigate that process if they need that.
John, how would this impact rural hospitals throughout the state of Wisconsin? We know a lot of them are already stretched thin. Is this going to make things even more limited in some of those communities?
Yeah, I think this is hopefully a benefit for every hospital. I mean, rural hospitals can often experience the same type of issues and bottlenecks where they're waiting to get patients out. And whether it's waiting to get somebody out to a post-acute care facility because of guardianship or other issues, or sometimes they're trying to get a patient that comes to them that actually needs a higher level of care. So typically a rural hospital might refer that patient to a larger tertiary hospital in a hopefully a close by but bigger community that has other physicians and a care team that's trained to deal with that patient that needs a higher level of care. The problem is, because of the post-acute bottlenecks, really it's almost like a chain reaction. So like our highest acuity facilities, classic examples would be UW Health in Madison or Frederick in Milwaukee, but they are almost constantly running full because they can treat people that need the highest level of care. And so they're always trying to take people that they can, but as soon as they get somebody out, they have someone coming in, right? So it's almost like the hope is that we can kind of break down bottlenecks and get patients moving. And really just to kind of reiterate that, I'm going to try to do some math here, which isn't my strong suit, but
join the club, John.
That's why I'm a lobbyist and not a math teacher. But the average length of stay for someone in a typical patient stay in a hospital is about 4 or 5 days, right? And you might end up waiting for guardianship. Best case scenario, maybe a week or two, but it's not uncommon for people to wait 2 months or more, right? And so 60 days, if you take that and then you take the average length of stay of 4 or 5 days, so 60 divided by 5 is 12, 60 divided by 4 is 15. So that means, we could have seen 12 to 15 patients in the time that one patient has been occupying the bed for 60 days. And so even if there's not maybe, a ton of patients at any given time, just having one patient occupying that bed for such a long amount of time, you kind of extrapolate that to all across the state. I mean, we're talking about, I think, a real impact here and a real benefit that this will have.
John Helter's our guest. He is the Vice President of Federal Affairs and Advocacy for Wisconsin Hospital Association, WHA.org. John, the critics of this bill don't take any issue with what you've been saying about the issues that the hospitals are having. They're in full agreement with you, as most people, like I said, who've been to a hospital have. Their objections come with some of the privacy issues because the bill removes protections like court oversight for guardians, for guardianship, but it gives those people the same rights as a guardian. It doesn't require that the patient be notified of who's been appointed their guardian or their right to ask for a reevaluation of their capacity. And finally, it lacks protections against an abuser or an estranged relative assuming the role. Now, how does the WHA and other hospitals, how do you balance those concerns, which are legit, with your concerns, which are also very legit?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question. And, frankly, we've taken the concerns from a whole lot of people, including the groups registered against the bill, very seriously this whole time. We did take time to meet with many of the advocates, both in the last legislative session and this session, and just tried to talk through the issues. And again, frankly, I think listening to their concerns helped us come up with a better bill where we were able to address many of their concerns. It wasn't able to get all of them on board, but I do think it's reflected in the fact that we had a broad support from both Democrats and Republicans, both in the Assembly and in the Senate. I think we had close to 80 legislators out of 99 voting for it in the Assembly, and I want to say it was 25 or 26 in the Senate. And then obviously, we've been working with the governor this whole time in making sure that we have the governor's support as well. I think what we've trying to view this as is we're trying to protect patient rights here. When you have a guardianship hearing, that is necessarily taking away rights of the individual. The whole idea with this bill is you preserve those rights. You do have someone making their medical decisions with them, but the whole idea is that you can preserve those rights. And we actually did have something where we came up with a process where if there are concerns about what the decision maker is doing, that the court can actually take a look at that. So it would be short of requiring them to do a guardianship, but the court can look at, whether they're spending, and again, you can only help them with healthcare expenditures. So it's not like you have the ability to spend down their finances for other means. But there is an ability for the court to take a look at that. And the other thing I'll just mention, and this was an idea that came from the governor's team, is the bill is going to operate as a 3-year pilot. And the hope was if there are, concerns that come to fruition, that we can, work on that when this will necessarily have to get reauthorized. We are not the only state doing this. If you go to the American Bar Association's website, there's something like 46 states that use the next of kin process to help make medical decisions in some capacity. Frankly, we learned this process from one of our members who operates both in Wisconsin and in Illinois. So Illinois already allows this. So we're very hopeful that as people get used to the process, just as they have in other states, that they'll come around on it. But again, if there are issues with it, that's the whole idea of it being a pilot, that we can work on that.
All right. Well, it sounds good. John, we appreciate your time and all the information this morning. John Helter is Vice President for Federal Affairs and Advocacy for Wisconsin Hospital Association. You can read all about their work at WHA.org. John, thanks again. Have a great day. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate you having me on.
Sure. This is the Civic Media Network.
Welcome back. We're still here. We didn't go anywhere.
I was just reading over on NPR that Virginia just joined a national effort to ensure the popular vote winner becomes president. They're now at 222 electoral votes. They need 270 before it could actually go into effect. So they're getting closer. What states have signed on to that? And now Virginia. Interesting. This has been going since 2004.
They've been trying to get people to sign on to it for that long?
I'm sorry. That was 24. My eyes are blurry.
Okay.
08, though.
Huh. I would have thought convincing people that the popular vote was the way to go.
Hawaii and Illinois actually were the first two. I'm sorry, 07. Maryland was the first, followed by Hawaii and then Illinois.
Huh.
New Jersey also in 08.
I didn't think there was that much movement on that.
There wasn't until first term.
Yeah, that tracks.
Especially since Hillary won the popular vote.
Mm-hmm.
And he did not.
Yeah.
So it became even a bigger topic of conversation then.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's an interesting concept. So you need basically 48 more electoral votes to do anything. You're never getting all the states to sign on.
No. All right. We've got 15 seconds.
Now back to more of Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
7:52 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We always appreciate it. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. If you are a farmer here in Wisconsin, especially if you grow soybeans or corn, we'd love to hear from you because at 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842, there was a big investigation on the Associated Press, and it was in all the state papers, about soybean farmers being squeezed in so many different directions, not only by tariffs, but by the war and by just the ongoing challenges that come with being a farmer. So according to one of the Doug Bartnick, who is a fifth generation farmer, he's also the chairman of the Nebraska Soybean Association. He was the focus of part of this profile, part of this story. So he knows what's going on, and the high cost of fuel, equipment, and fertilizer, and then the war and the tariffs, also price gouging, as he puts it, from suppliers. All of these things are driving it harder and harder to be a soybean farmer. And soybean farmers a lot of times also grow corn because those are the two big feed grains that are being sent. Bartek said, our biggest struggles are our inputs, be it fertilizer, seed, chemicals, or parts. There's been so much drastic markup in all of these, and I feel that farmers are kind of painted into a corner. these are not Nebraska centric. These are concerns that farmers all across the Midwest are feeling. Now, I didn't realize it wasn't until the 60s that soybeans became such a major crop in the U.S. for export, because it was always, soybeans were always a big export or a big crop here, but then they all of a sudden it exploded. And so we're seeing these farmers have to struggle more and more. It just, as I was reading this, it just got more and more daunting. I'm like, oh man, how do they even survive?
I mean, you just look at everything that they're up against, right? The cost for everything is going up. Their equipment is not cheap. You also think about the fact that the tariffs that were imposed by the Trump administration last year have not been easy on the farming trade. You had that trade war with China.
China
as you
is
mentioned.
China is the biggest buyer of American soybeans and corn, and they, once Trump hit them with the tariffs, they went with a retaliatory tariff. So now all of a sudden, all these farmers are not able to sell their crop, and again, tariffs are not paid by the other country. Tariffs are paid by us. So it's really hurting. And then now with the Strait of Hormuz closed and the chemicals that come out for the fertilizer, they can't get the fertilizer right before planting season. It just keeps going on where you have to, it's almost like Job just looking up to the skies and go, what else can you put on us?
Farmers are essentially squeezed in every direction that they're looking at. I mean, and when you look at it at that point, when farmers struggle, right? It's not just staying on the farm. It's also hitting the local economy. If you're looking at states like Nebraska, where this particular story took place, or anywhere in the Midwest, here in Wisconsin, you have equipment dealers, you have the co-ops, you have trucking, you have the small town businesses. It's all going to hit the grocery prices. It hits local jobs, and it hits the rural communities the hardest. And that's where you start seeing more of the financial stress. There's also more uncertainty, and then there's even the potential for rising bankruptcy if we get into some of those crises that we've seen in the past. And that's going to affect the backbone of every small state or every rural state or state that depends on farming, like right here in Wisconsin.
And according to the American Farm Bureau Federation, you brought up foreclosures, still relatively low, but they've continued to climb in 2025. And we've had guests on the show talking about that, and more farmers having to unfortunately go that route. I don't know where the relief will come, because I don't see, even if the war ends quickly, it's still going to take time to get all those supplies out, get those fertilizer prices down. It's going to take time for fuel to go down, all the things you need. Plus, the tariffs are not going away.
No.
So where do you get your relief? Where does help come other than more things? That we talked about the farm bill the other day and how it's not really doing what it's supposed to be doing.
Right.
So
it's a ripple effect, right? I mean, because this will essentially, if the farmers are having issues, it's going to hit all of us. It's going to hit all of us, from what we pay at the store to how our communities operate. And I think that's what people forget, because it's not just farmer centric. It essentially affects all of us. And that's what we have to remember when we're talking about the effects of what happens politically to our farmers. And honestly, I look at this weather forecast for the next couple of days. I can't imagine, on top of everything else the farming community is worrying about, than to be a farmer in the state of Wisconsin right now, where you're looking at your field going, I couldn't get out here if I tried, because this is a mud pit.
Yeah, I can't plant. I wonder, and this is a question for anybody involved in agriculture. What keeps them going? I mean, I know a lot of times it's family legacy, and it's your third, fourth, fifth generation, and this is your farm.
Those are tough people.
They really are. And I'm not, I don't quit a lot of things easily, but after decades and decades, it's just got to be insurmountable. So I would like to, sometime I'd like to talk to farmers and just go, what is it that keeps you going? Because it has to be, it's not always the money. It's got to just be love of the game, for lack of a better term. That this is what they do. It's who they are, and so they're going to keep fighting no matter what, which is admirable. And we need them out there fighting like that. So I'm glad they are. I'm amazed sometimes.
I mean, there's really no words for what our farming community does. And the fact that they are treated sometimes the way they are as pawns in politics, it can be a little maddening when you look at it from that respect.
Yes, it can. When we come back, more headlines from all over the world and right here in Wisconsin. We'll get to that after this. This is Daybreak. I'm Brian Noonan. She's Jamie Martinson, and this is the Civic Media Network.
You know, that's actually a good conversation. I know several farming families, tried and true, generational, from the Sauk County area. I should see if any of them would join us.
Do a round table?
Yeah.
State of agriculture?
I think it would be fascinating. I think it'd be
so
interesting.
Too.
Yeah.
Could do it as a special.
Yeah, we could.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, put some feelers out, see who I can get. And then put them in touch with Frank, because it's always talk to Frank.
Talk to Frank.
But I think that would be a really fascinating conversation.
Yeah, because it is, all right, after you've watched and I know a lot of young people are leaving the state, but you watch your grandparents and your parents and and the struggles, and you go, this is not for me.
And I think I could probably reach out to Brian Reisinger, and he probably has a few families who'd be willing to talk with us too. Yeah, let me work on that.
All right.
Well,
I know we want to get more.
Yeah.
We want to make connections with our rural voters or rural listeners.
And I think people have to, I mean, that's literally why Maggie and I did the farm show at the Reisinger farm in August, because we didn't talk about the politics of it at all. I didn't want to talk about that. It was literally about kind of what we're talking about right here. Like, why do you keep showing up every day? I mean, this is not easy. And it was also talking about the history of the farm and all of that, of the family farm. But I think this would be a much broader conversation if we could do like 2 or 3 people in a round table.
Yeah.
And I think it'd be also interesting to get like a farm wife if we could. And because it's not easy for them either. They work just as hard.
Yeah.
And I think it'd also be good then to maybe shine light on the farmers. I know we've done it periodically, but it's always good to keep at the top of the mind. Farmer Angel Network. They're a great organization that gives free mental health help to farmers to reduce the suicide rate among Wisconsin farmers. And I know we could get them easily to talk to us.
Okay. Oh, hey, it's 414 Day.
It is 414 Day. And just like that, there's people here. Oh, the lights came on.
8 o'clock rolls around.
Mm-hmm.
I always feel like a hermit when I like come out and talk to like Zommers and Dom.
I always feel like when I come out, it's like you're like, no, the
Yeah.
light.
Wicked witch gonna melt.
Yes. Because we're in so much dark with all of these windows in the studio.
Yeah, really. I had to put the blinds down a little bit so it doesn't peek over this monitor. Otherwise, it gets a little blinding to look at you guys.
I'm sure.
Just because of our radiance?
That's right.
Yeah. Your sparkling personalities.
Well, now we know he's lying. Well, I'll speak for myself. that building, though.
Yeah.
That's a lot of windows.
Yeah.
And what I've also noticed is there's literally no shading on them. It's just plain, there's like no tinting or anything on them.
Fully just glass, yeah.
It's going to be like a terrarium in there.
Yeah, that's got to be an interesting...
It's going to be hot in there.
Sure,
On a 95-degree day.
Yeah, it gets hot in here.
It does get hot in here. And not in the Nelly way.
So hot.
Right. Yeah, Max lives in Max's building in Milwaukee.
The crack house?
Yes.
Sorry, not
No, it's funny. The entire the whole front is all glass like that.
Okay.
And so when you walk in there, when it's like a day where it's really hot.
Bacon.
Oh my God, it's so hot. And it's an old building.
Sure.
It's so hot. I remember the day we moved him in, it was like 98 degrees. And I'm like, are you serious?
No one's ever had a good day for moving.
And the elevator's old.
Oh, yeah.
So like you actually have to put something in the door to stop it.
Oh, God.
We were just glad there was an elevator because he lives on the 3rd floor.
Yeah.
It's very warmish in there. Yeah. And Corey does not do well with heat.
I've got some buddies like that. Yeah.
We grew up in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, so it's never that hot.
Right. All right, we got a couple of seconds.
Across the state of Wisconsin, Daybreak with Brian and Jamie is back.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us on today. It is 6 minutes after 8. And if you are listening in Richland Center on WRCE or in Wisconsin Rapids on WFHR, Hayward on WBZH, or in Wausau on WXCO, we are glad that you decided to join us today. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning. I'm Brian Noonan. Glad you're with us. Time to check headlines, starting with the war and the Persian Gulf. Everything's happening over there. Well, now, Chinese President Xi Jinping floated a 4-point proposal for promoting Middle East peace during a meeting today with the Crown Prince of Abu Dhabi. That according to the Chinese official news agency. Xi's proposal calls for upholding the principle of regional peaceful coexistence and respecting national sovereignty while underscoring the principles of coordinating development and security. Quite a lot of double talk.
There is a lot of double talk that's happening right now from several of our world leaders. In other headlines from Iran, Vice President J.D. Vance accused Iran of economic terrorism by essentially closing the Strait of Hormuz. He defended the U.S. blockade of Iranian ports as an equal response. At least 2 sanctioned ships have transited the strait since the blockade began.
Now, did he make those comments before or after he told the Pope to stay out of America's business? As the highest-ranking Catholic in our government, right. He told the Pope to keep our name out your mouth.
Now, I'm not sure where my timeline is, so I don't know where it all fell together. But at some point, he decided to continue to talk and make comments about everything. So
JD's got his moment in the sun. It's not going well. He's wilting under the pressure. In other headlines from Iran, the U.S. and Iran are still communicating, a U.S. official told CNN. After peace talks in Pakistan failed, U.S. officials are discussing details for a potential second in-person meeting with the Iranians. That, according to a source. We'll see if it'll be the same
I was just
folks
say,
going over.
Do you think they would send the same?
I hope so. They're doing a bang-up job. They are fantastic. I would trust them with all sorts of diplomacy.
And finally, from Iran this morning, diplomats from Israel and Lebanon are expected to begin negotiations today under U.S. supervision in Washington, D.C. Lebanon's president hopes the meeting will result in a ceasefire, even as Iran-backed militant group Hezbollah called on Beirut to reject the talks. Everything's kind of a mess, isn't it?
The world's on fire. And I know you're thinking, listen, Brian, Jamie, we understand that it's important that you talk about all the things that are happening overseas. We are at war and all. But isn't there stuff we need to know right here? Well, yes, there is.
It's a wake-up call in more ways than one. Time for some you need to know.
Well, if you're walking out the door today, this is definitely the top piece of you need to know.
Yeah.
Southern Wisconsin is under an enhanced risk for severe storms today that could include tornadoes. That, according to forecasters at the National Weather Service. On the National Weather Service's 1 to 5 scale, Southern Wisconsin is under a 3 for today. That means high confidence that several storms will contain damaging winds, severe hail, and or tornadoes. Western portion of southern Wisconsin on Wednesday will be under another slight risk. No enhanced risks are anywhere else in the state for tomorrow. But today we are under that 3, that risk. There's an expected 1 to 3 inches of rain through the rest of the week. Flash flooding is going to be possible, and that, again, according to the National Weather Service.
Yeah.
We're trying to get more updates on power. As of earlier this morning, there were a lot of people across Dane County who were out of power. Almost 80,000 customers across Wisconsin had lost their power.
Yeah, and also, if you're in one of those flood-prone areas, because there has been a lot of flooding along several riverfronts across the state, check with your county. A lot of times they're doing sandbag fills and things like that to make sure that you're protecting your property, because I know that's a major concern in several areas of the state right now. So everybody just stay weather aware over the next few days. In other headlines this morning, from stuff you need to know, we got to zoom out just a little bit into the national world. And Tony Gonzalez announced that he will retire from Congress with all of those mounting bipartisan pressure and a formal ethics investigation. Amazing what happens when they want to formally investigate you. Now, he has admitted to having an affair with a staff member, which violates House rules due to the clear power imbalance between a member and an employee. That staff member later died by suicide, adding serious emotional weight and public scrutiny to this particular situation. The House Ethics Committee launched an investigation into possible sexual misconduct and whether Gonzalez gave preferential treatment or abused his position. House rules are strict on issues like this because they protect staffers from coercion, favoritism, or retaliation in the workplace. Republican leadership had already urged him to not seek re-election in order to protect the party's chances in a very strongly Republican district. Some lawmakers from both parties began openly calling for expulsion, signaling rare bipartisan agreement on enforcing ethics standards. Now, his retirement announcement came the same day Eric Swalwell said that he would resign over separate allegations, intensifying focus on misconduct in Congress. It's amazing what happens when those bipartisan conversations start, right?
It's time to pay the piper.
Yeah. There were discussions among lawmakers about holding both parties equally accountable, including potential back-to-back expulsion votes. Gonzalez had previously said he would finish his term, but there's been some rising political and public pressure, and that appears to have forced an early exit. His departure creates uncertainty in the House, where Republicans hold a razor-thin majority, and even one vacancy can affect key votes in legislation. Now, if you joined us earlier, we actually talked about the resignation of Eric Swalwell, and if you want to hear past shows, this is where we'll give a shameless plug. Go to civicmedia.us and you can hear back any of the shows that we've done here on Civic Media. But I think that's the one thing that everybody has to keep in mind. There's two things. Obviously, victims of both of these men. And then second of all, the fact that the majority in the House is so it's paramount right now because it is razor thin, and it literally comes down to sometimes 1 or 2 votes. And the House, the Republicans do not have a strong majority. They are usually teetering right around 3 seats. So when you start playing with numbers like this and you start having people leave, there's there's a lot of votes that could go very different based on how those numbers look here very soon with these changes to the House.
And another piece of fuel for Democrats as the midterms come up.
Yeah.
And for Republicans too. This was we had one on each side, so it's the rules are for everybody or they're for nobody. And for a long time, it seemed like the rules were for nobody, but it's good to see at least a couple guys having to take accountability for what they did. If you've driven around Wisconsin, you might think, man, these roads are bad. And they are. How bad are they? Well, Wisconsin ranks 14th worst in the country for overall road conditions, according to a national analysis using federal data. That ranking puts Wisconsin behind all neighboring states, which I could not believe. Illinois, Michigan, Iowa, and Minnesota. Minnesota ranks among the best roads in the country.
That's because it's construction season 365 days out of
well,
the year.
that's Indiana. Is Indiana the same thing? The ranking includes both road quality and traffic deaths, not just potholes. The state improved from eighth worst last year, but still sits in the bottom tier nationally. About 57% of urban roads and 15% of rural roads are in poor condition. Both worse than the national average. So you might as well just walk, like Jamie was talking about before. Don't even try to ride your bike. You're gonna fall over. You can't drive. Wisconsin has over 17,000 miles of roads, of course, so that makes maintenance and repairs very costly. But that's what you get when you have a big state. And then you get the winter, all the freezing and all that comes in. A lot of truck traffic and farm equipment adds to the wear and tear. And you're driving over things, poor roads. You're going to have to get your car damaged, high repair costs. So the bad roads are everywhere. Stay home. Get a job where you can work from home, have your food and everything delivered. That way you don't have to drive. Somebody else's car takes the beating, and you don't have to go anywhere.
Well, and let's be clear, the weather that we're having the next couple of days is certainly not going to help with the potholes or the deterioration of some of the road conditions. I think it is interesting that Milwaukee is the one city trying to improve things the most. And mostly because they have a goal of 0 traffic deaths by 2037. So they're investing hundreds of thousands of dollars into all of these different projects. But, yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of with you. Stay
and
home.
all those projects are making the roads more dangerous now because of construction. It's a vicious circle. But and the fact that now it's raining nonstop and it was freezing a week ago, and then it's going to be hot, and we know asphalt just explodes.
And then we have all of the flooding happening in portions of the state. So, we're a prime example of what not to do with roads in the state of Wisconsin, I guess. In other headlines this morning, this was really sad. This one was, now I'll be clear when we get into this was a little before my time, but I remember watching the reruns of this when I was growing up on certain channels. But Sid Croft, who is a legendary TV creator and puppeteer, has died at the age of 96. Now, he worked closely with his brother Marty Croft, forming one of the most influential duos in children's television history. The Croft brothers created iconic shows in the late 60s and 70s, including H.R. Pufnstuf, which, Brian, you are familiar. It became a cult favorite.
I love it.
I'd never heard of this.
I know, but you got to.
Oh, it's so good.
Brian looks so happy.
He does look happy.
This was yesterday. I saw this, and the song immediately came back into my head. Can't do a little because he can't do, but he can't do enough. It is, for those who haven't seen, H.R. Pufnstuf was all of the Sid and Marty Croft stuff were looking back. Someone, I think, may have been doing some hallucinogenics when they created this, especially for Lidsville, in which talking hats ruled the world, and there was a lot of hidden kind of marijuana references, just even in the title, Lidsville. Right. It was crazy. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters.
Yes.
Land of the Lost with the Sleestack. It's just, there was so much from them. But, H.R. Pufnstuf, only 17 episodes, Jamie, but you said you saw it in reruns, which is where a lot of people saw it.
I did. Yeah, I did. I've only seen a couple of the episodes, but I remember it distinctly being on, and I don't even know what channel I would have been watching growing up, but I remember distinctly it being on. I also remember my parents talking about it when I was growing up, and then having a conversation once it came on our little TV in our living room, because obviously then they started reliving watching it as a kid too.
Crazy, because he's H.R. Pufnstuf is his, and right there's your name, Pufnstuf. So you're puffing stuff, man, and you see this giant monster. And then Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, the kid who played Jody on Family Affair,
Yes.
what Johnny Whitaker was in that show with these sea monsters that just wandered around. It was trippy. But they also did the Donnie and Marie show.
Yep.
And they did Brady Bunch Variety Hour.
Yep.
They got a Daytime Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award and a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. So 96, pretty good run for old Sid Croft.
I love, too, that they worked with Richard Pryor on shows
Yes.
like Pryor's Place, which is also cool. Now, as a comedian, were you a fan of Richard Pryor? Because I know we talked about
yes.
Bill Cosby at one point.
Yeah,
but-
Richard Pryor he's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
It
It
was
was
great.
so good.
A
Should we
little
just
more,
sit and-
a little more HR Puffin stuff as
I was
we
gonna
wrap
say,
it
should
up.
we just sit and listen?
Well, we're going to talk about a very nice organization, the Lions Foundation of Wisconsin, when we come back.
Let that play out. It's 8:19 right now. You are listening to Daybreak. I'm Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. I can't do a little, but I can't do enough on the Civic Media Network.
All right.
Do yourself a favor, Parker. If you want to see how weird the 70s were, the late
Oh, no, I
60s,
watched
early
the video.
70s. Yeah, it
I
was
watched
weird.
the video. I watched the one video on the 70s.
Yes.
Charles Nelson Riley was the star of Lidsville.
Hello, Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi there.
Welcome. Amanda, will you pronounce your last name for me, please?
It is Daily.
Daly. Got it.
All right.
Thank you.
Make note.
Yeah, it's harder than it looks. I married into a Danish family. What was I thinking?
Well, that's why it's all I always ask, just in case.
Yes.
Right? We have
Better than my maiden name. My maiden name was Knipple, and so the mispronunciations of that were a lot worse.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can imagine.
that I could see. Okay.
We've
Wow.
got just about a minute or so, and this will be a quick 7 minutes. We'll talk about the grant and the funding and the Lions, and we'll make it super easy for you this morning.
I appreciate that. You're my very first radio interview.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm so excited.
Wow.
I've never
Well, this
done,
is
I've never done any
exciting.
kind of interview.
We like to be people's firsts, so
Glad that
we
you're
will
here.
treat
This
you
is
gently.
exciting.
I appreciate that.
It looks lovely. Where are you at?
I am in beautiful Roswell, Wisconsin, at the
Okay.
Wisconsin Lions camp.
Oh, okay.
And so this is, it's a little rainy, overcast. We had
Oh,
some
yeah.
storms last night, but
Yeah.
But you can still tell that it's
Yeah, lovely.
looks
That's
like
a
place
beautiful
that-
scenery.
yeah.
it's a beautiful property. If you ever get a chance to come up, you should.
Oh, okay. Yeah, for sure. That's gorgeous. I see trees and water. I'm in.
Yes, we have. We have
Trees
a
of green.
40-acre lake back there. The property is 440 acres of woods and lake and
Oh, that sounds
beautiful
amazing.
cabins, and it's beautiful.
I love
Everything's air
places-
conditioned and heated too, because we are a camp for people with disabilities. So we have
Sure.
make things. It's very nice. We glamp, but we're not camping. We're glamping.
We've got 15 seconds until we're back. Amanda, just so you know, when we get to our last couple of minutes, I'll give you hand signals how many minutes we got left. If you hear music, that means we just got to wrap it up.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Local voices, statewide impact. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:22 right now. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And good morning, I'm Brian Noonan. According to the Wisconsin Department of Health Services, about 1 in 11 people in Wisconsin are living with diabetes. Once considered an adult disease, type 2 diabetes is being diagnosed more and more often in children and teens. UW Health reports that a 10% increase in youth cases in diabetes since 2018. The mission of the Wisconsin Lions Foundation is building a healthier Wisconsin through awareness, action, and support. Here to tell us about some of the Lions Foundation's programs is Amanda Daly. She's the healthcare supervisor for the Wisconsin Lions. Amanda, thank you for being here. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
So give us a little history on the Wisconsin Lions Foundation and what you do there.
So I am the healthcare supervisor for the Wisconsin Lions Foundation, but I am mainly for the Wisconsin Lions Camp, which is a summer camp founded in 1956, serving youth and adults with disabilities. So we offer our camp for free for people who are eligible for it. Applications are open right now and are through May 15th if anybody is interested.
Well, we are interested.
Yes. Well, and in that role, because I'm a registered nurse, I took over the coordination of our diabetes awareness project. And diabetes awareness, when we started the project in 1998, was not as prevalent as it is now. It was kind of nobody really talked about having type 2 diabetes. Nobody talked about any kind of diabetes. So at that point, we had some grants from the state, and we created a robust library of reference documents to help spread the word through our local Lions clubs about diabetes and risk factors and living with diabetes and all of these things. And it was wonderful. But fast forward, it is now 2026. The word is out about type 1 and type 2 diabetes. Everybody knows about it. People can hear about it from much more credible sources than the Lions Foundation. So we decided to shift our focus. Working with our diabetes committee at the state level, we wanted to use our time, our efforts in a more impactful way. We wanted to be able to help more people on a day-to-day level. Part of my background is before becoming entering this role, I was a school nurse. I was a school nurse for about 8 years. In that role, I worked with a lot of students who had diabetes, type 1 and type 2. There are
Amanda, real quick, before could you just, for those who still don't know, can you explain the difference between type 1 and type 2?
Absolutely. Okay, so type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease where your body decides it doesn't like your pancreas anymore. It especially doesn't like the cells in that pancreas that create insulin. And insulin is a hormone that you need to get sugar from your bloodstream into your body cells for them to function. So in type 1, your body doesn't make it anymore. It's gone. So the only way that you can get it is by supplementing it from the outside with either injections, continuous infusion pumps, those kinds of, that kind of stuff. And then you are constantly monitoring your blood sugar because it's going up and down, and you're having to balance what you're eating with what insulin you're giving so that you're not getting too high or too low, because both of those things can be dangerous. With type 2 diabetes, your body and your pancreas, they're still making insulin, but due to genetic factors, lots of things, your body cells no longer, the same amount of insulin doesn't work as effectively. So you're having to still sometimes take insulin to increase the efficacy of that insulin. So they both require you to take insulin sometimes, but one is an autoimmune disease. One is it's still a metabolic disease, but it's not something that can be you can avoid type 2 diabetes with diet, exercise, medication. Type 1, you got it. You got it.
And are kids with both types, are they eligible for the camp?
100%. We have 2 weeks of diabetes camp, and we can have up to 150 campers each week. Our weeks this year are June 14th through 18th and June 21st through 25th.
We're talking with Amanda Daly. She is the healthcare supervisor for the Wisconsin Lions. You also, a few minutes ago, mentioned grants. You actually have grants that go out to the schools so they can help students with diabetes. Can you tell us about that and how schools apply? And is that open to any school in the Wisconsin school district?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. It is. So new this year, like I said, we wanted to be more purposeful, impactful. So we started the grant. Schools who are monitoring students with diabetes through continuous glucose monitors. Like I said, you have to monitor that blood glucose as it goes up and down. schools can monitor those blood sugars remotely from these devices. So you can do that if you have devices that can do it. When I was a school nurse, our school couldn't afford to buy me the tablet that we needed to monitor those things. So it was kind of, you're just having to rely on that student paying attention to those things, or a parent has to do it from afar and they might be working or doing that thing. So as a safety issue, it's the best thing that you can do is have access to those blood sugar numbers so that you can watch them as they're going up and down. But like I said, some schools can't afford it. So we are offering our grant to help schools, school nurses, school staff, everybody monitor students with diabetes. So they can apply on our website that we flashed above, WisconsinLionsFoundation.org. Schools can apply for up to $1,000 to help monitor their students with diabetes. That can be tablets, smartphones, that can be Wi-Fi upgrades, all those things that we need to really help with that student safety. Any school in Wisconsin can do it. You just have to apply for each school individually. And the person who applies has to be from the school. Parents can't apply, but parents can encourage.
Tell your school to apply. And if you think your child might want to go to the Lions camp, WisconsinLions.org, you can get all the information on the camp. You can get the information for the grants. You can get all the information on the great work. Amanda Daly, thank you for being with us this morning. Congrats, you get your first interview done.
Woohoo! Thank you so much.
All right, we're clear.
Awesome. That was great. Thank you
there you
so
go.
much.
You did terrific. Thanks, Amanda.
Thank you all. Take care.
Take care.
Have a great day.
Bye-bye.
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 All right.
What a great program.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, that's super. I mean, you think too about the amount of kids that could potentially help.
Yeah, I had one kid, and I knew him the whole time he was in the school. But like when he was in 5th grade, his parents were monitoring. So like he kept a cell phone that the teacher kept. And if his parents saw his blood sugar dropping, they would message, hey, have Evan drink a juice or have Evan do this. And so then you'd have to then call him up and he'd go out and do what he had to do and then come back.
Yeah.
If somebody could do it just from school, that would be a lot easier.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, because it is scary too when their blood sugar starts to drop, as you're very well aware.
Yes. Scary for adults. It's got to be really scary for kids.
This morning went fast.
Yeah, weirdly for how tired the start was.
We started out with of hope and sunshine, and it quickly faded.
Yeah. It's still bright, though.
It is bright.
Cloudy, but bright.
It's just so humid this morning, too. Feels very early to be talking about that stuff. Like as far as the time of year, right? Like these are normally the things we talk about in May, June.
Yeah.
Tornadoes, hail, humidity, warm temperatures. That's all right. By Saturday, it's supposed to be 47 degrees.
Yay.
And there was much rejoicing.
I don't think it stays cool for long because I think it gradually starts going back up next week, but it's not supposed to be this warm. Not for a few days. This is a weird time of year. Oh my gosh, they're already putting like all the bikes out and everything. The ones you can rent, yeah. Oh, that's what they're working on right now. All the scooters and the bikes going into the racks. I will not be, based on our prior conversation, renting one of those.
Nah. 15 seconds.
Want to join in on the conversation? Call or text 855-75-CIVIC. Now back to Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:35 right now. We hope that you are having a great start to your morning. Remember, if you would like to follow us on social media, you can do so by checking out our Facebook page and our Instagram page. Just do a search for Daybreak with Brian and Jamie. My name is Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. How do you feel about politicians being covered like celebrities? And who would you trust more for your information, TMZ or CBS? 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. The reason we ask you that is TMZ. You know TMZ. They love to cover the celebrities. TMZ standing for the 30-mile zone, which is a Hollywood term where outside of the 30-mile radius of Hollywood, you get paid more if you work outside the TMZ. So they started obviously in Hollywood in that zone, and now they have opened an office. It's basically a table, but they have a staff now in Washington.
Three producers.
Three producers, and they are starting to cover politicians like they cover celebrities. They famously put out a call for people to send pictures of their representatives on vacation during this, we're at war and all this other stuff is going, no funding for different things, but they were going on vacation. So TMZ said, hey, if we could do it to Johnny Depp and every other B-list celebrity, why don't we start doing it with politicians who have a much more important role in our lives?
Yes.
So they've done stories like Ted Cruz cruising in Fort Lauderdale amid a government shutdown. Lindsey Graham, you failed to keep government open, so what are you doing now? I'm going to Disney World. And they go after everybody. Bernie Sanders goes wheels up as shutdown bill dies in House. So they're going after everybody, and I am 100% in on this. Good. I
think this is spectacular.
I want them treated with the same attention we give to celebrities.
Yes. And this is actually going to be called TMZ DC, just in case anybody's wondering. This is officially what they're calling it. And, the founder of TMZ, Harvey Levin, said that this expansion into politics was a really spontaneous decision to bring their style of reporting to Washington. And let's be clear, they've already tried to dip, and you just went through some of those headlines, Brian. They've already dipped into some political coverage, including interviews during government shutdowns. They seek photos of lawmakers outside of work. So the goal of TMZ DC is to capture more of the behind-the-scenes, personal and unscripted moments involving politicians. Now, I know that there's a lot of people who are going to be like, this is just more paparazzi. We don't need them. And
we do need it.
You know what? Our politicians need more accountability, and our legacy media is not giving it to them, is not making them stand up. They're covering stories. They're taking stories out of press when they get too much pressure. And here's what I'm going to say. TMZ doesn't play that game at all.
because TMZ is not licensed by the FCC, so they don't have to worry about any retribution from the administration. They can go after whoever they want. They don't have to have show some sort of bias. As I mentioned, 2 Republicans and a Democrat. They go after anybody. So I am good with this. 855-75-CIVIC, 855-752-4842. Cindy's in Appleton. She wants to weigh in on this. Good morning, Cindy.
Yeah, well, I'm okay with the 2 as long as they don't follow the orange man baby around because he gets more than enough coverage.
All right, fair enough. Yes,
that is fair.
And we all know what he's doing, but I want to know what these other people are doing. I want to know what a Ted Cruz is up to. I want to know if Hakeem Jeffries is really upset or he's just at home, relaxing instead of writing more strongly worded letters.
I want to know how
all
long one of those strongly worded letters actually takes them, and maybe TMZ can tell us. But when you look at the company's track record, I mean, besides tiptoeing into politics, they broke the news about Michael Jackson's death before anyone else. Same thing with Kobe Bryant and that helicopter crash. They exposed Donald Sterling with the recordings. They released the Ray Rice video that forced the NFL to actually have to respond to the allegations. They've been all over Britney Spears' conservatorship story for years. Love them or hate them, they get the story. And most of the time, I would say, I don't even know what the percentage is, but very rarely are they wrong, nor do they have to redact anything that they've ever said because they have the video, they have the photos, they sometimes have letters, emails. They do the work to
and
get
as
the
an
story.
attorney, former attorney, Harvey Levin knows what it takes to not get sued. And they, the knock would be, well, they pay for their stories. Okay. Is it true?
So?
Yeah, is it,
are they doing the work to report the real story behind it?
They've gotten to the point now where if it came down to I'm hearing something from TMZ or I'm hearing something from CBS, I'm taking TMZ's word for it 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Because CBS, the former Tiffany Network, the place that Walter Cronkite, Edward R. Murrow, is now nothing but a mouthpiece for the Republican administration. Barry Weiss took over and has gotten rid of everything that even was remotely respectable about journalism on that network. So I'm trusting them, and I wonder if other people think that way. Who do you trust to get your information from, Jamie? Besides us.
I follow a lot of independent journalists at this stage of the game. If I'm looking for things on more of a national front, I'm going AP, I'm going Politico, I'm going Reuters. I tend not to go into any of the network news, but those are the places that I'm going for more national coverage. On the local side, and when I say local, I mean statewide, we have several good newspapers and independent leaning organizations. So I'm always kind of scouring all of that information too. But I don't really rely on the main networks because there's so much of a political spin that happens. And that's the other thing with TMZ. They don't care what your politics are. They're going to report it if it's a story. They aren't sanitizing things. They're not going to package it in some sort of way that's going to make it easier for somebody powerful to spin it and say that it's not true. And I think that's where it's going to be most interesting because in Washington, covering these politicians, politics is a performance art anyway. I mean, let's be realistic.
They're all
about
sticking
what we see.
to their talking points. They're all being handled by countless people. What I like about TMZ is, yes, some of the stories might be a little salacious. So that's who you voted for. And don't you want to know if they're doing these things? Don't you want to see that? Is it our business that Lindsey Graham is, in the buffet line at Disney World with a princess wand? No.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it's not. But he's a public figure. Why? What makes a politician more above the scrutiny than a celebrity? I would argue a celebrity has more right to privacy. Because they're just they get paid to do a job. A politician was voted for to work for you. The celebrity doesn't work for us.
No.
The politician does work for us. So I do have a right to know everything they're doing. And I don't care what format it comes in, what platform it's on, how it's presented. we deserve to know the truth.
If you want to chime into this conversation this morning, we would love to hear from you. 1-855-752-4842, 1-855-75-CIVIC. The question we are asking you this morning, how do you feel about politicians being covered like celebrities? Who do you trust more at this point, TMZ or CBS? And what I love about TMZ being involved in this is going to go beyond the strongly worded letters. This is going to go beyond those press conferences. It's going to go beyond all of the statements that politicians like to put out to get their spin on a story, to make sure that they get the words out there that they want people to hear. This is going to be essentially, if TMZ covers Washington, D.C. like they have celebrities for years, this is going to be more of a, what are you doing when the cameras aren't on? Right. Kind of viewpoint. And I think that that's important because of how politics has evolved and changed and become such a showmanship versus actually what people are elected to do. And that's what I'm most excited if these three young producers, because let's be real, they're young because it takes a lot of energy to do what they do. But I think that that's going to be fascinating in Washington, D.C. And there's already a lot of press in D.C. D.C. is one of the most covered places in America for obvious reasons, but not in the way TMZ is going to do it.
No, TMZ is relentless, and they're going to ask questions that no other mainstream, not a mainstream network, and not the loyalist networks. They will never ask the questions that TMZ will get. And this is the feeling that the public has about politicians now is, I don't know if it's at an all-time low, but we don't hold them in high regard anymore. No. It doesn't matter what side of the aisle. We all think politicians are crooked. We don't approve of what they're doing. So why not? And when I say hunt them, I mean media-wise, not. Yeah. I mean, just follow them around and make them accountable and ask them the questions. And if they get embarrassed or if they get angry, well, what are you embarrassed about? What are you mad about?
So here's a question I would have. So maybe this becomes more of is whether or not TMZ belongs in politics. Maybe that's not the question. Maybe it's literally something to the effect of, is politics now built for more of what TMZ is perfectly adept at covering? Is that where politics has gone in this country, where we're beyond, the early days even of Barack Obama, which is, I think, when things started dramatically changing? Maybe TMZ is exactly what we need in this moment in time, because we're beyond what the legacy media is able to provide as far as what our politicians are giving us and the way politics is now built.
We've gone long past the age of civility when it comes to media coverage. We've also gone past the age of cooperation between our politicians and our media, where they would answer questions. And it really started with this president his first time around with fake news. You never heard about fake news. Everybody would admit that there were networks that had a slight slant, but you would always go, okay, but they're still giving us facts. They're just, and you knew where to go. Once fake news became a thing and the war against journalism started in earnest with this president, that's when civility was gone. And then we saw the election of certain politicians who had zero civility. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, I'm looking at you. Mark Wayne Mullen, I'm looking at you. And so now the old paradigm of how journalists are supposed to act is gone. So you need that new generation of journalists, and that's what TMZ is going to do. They're not going to stand on ceremony like they did. And it's a tabloid way to do it, but that's
our
them's
politics
the breaks.
Is tabloid-esque now.
Yes.
I mean,
well, we talked about two representatives having to resign for the most tabloid kind of stories possible. So,
absolutely.
Okay.
And every day when we watch what's happening in Washington, D.C., it is very tabloid. Our president was in tabloids before becoming president. He was on the cover of tabloids that were far far worse than anything TMZ has ever published, because the tabloids that our president was on the cover of were not actually fact-checking anything. TMZ is actually doing the work to fact-check.
Are you talking about the National Enquirer?
Well, of course.
Are you talking about Bad Boy? What are you trying to bring up? I don't understand. Don't understand what's happening here.
I'm excited about this. I'm excited to
I
see
can't
what
wait.
TMZ could do in Washington, D.C. I have
Because I'll be
zero
honest,
issues with this.
celebrity culture bores me now. So I am all for let's get to the
Yes.
bottom of these people and get them out.
Yes.
We got to do this. Then we're going to come back. This story will hit close to Jamie's heart. Is the circus still relevant? We'll get to that and so much more. This is Daybreak on the Civic Media Network.
My YouTube recommended is so weird. Because all I look up is random ass songs.
So what does it end up giving you as a recommended,
Random
Parker?
ass songs?
You don't need that. Baby Got Back.
No,
That'll take
Baby
care
Got
of that one.
You're right. There is a Wisconsin sports radio thing here for some reason. That's a live broadcast. There's a movie theme quiz, more
Okay.
TMZ theme songs. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? Full theme.
Oh, nice.
In other words, what you do is look up a lot of theme songs.
I
Parker.
guess, yeah.
And like obscurely weird ones.
Yeah, I've got Bruce Springsteen with Streets of Minneapolis.
Going into the political roots.
Yeah. Also, and I cannot explain this, 1 hour of silence, occasionally broken by Luigi. I have no idea.
Is that because we've talked about Mario and Mario Kart?
That's it.
Gamers
gotta be.
yesterday? Yeah.
I forgot about that. What, Brian?
I said we talked about gamers yesterday.
Yes, that's probably what it was.
Ooh.
I think I saw
Big
Zelda.
crowd of people standing outside after the sirens went by.
It was funny. I saw one ambulance, lights on, go towards you.
Yeah.
And then another ambulance, no lights on, going away from you.
Interesting. The other day when we were leaving to go eat, there were like 12 cop cars that went speeding through our neighborhood. And so, of course, my husband needed to follow them because that's what he does.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the little local parks over by the apartment building, they were all faced the same direction. I don't know what was going on over there, but there was something. Because they all pulled in with their lights on, and there was an ambulance and a fire truck, and they were all in at like an angle coming in, basically like a circle, and there were about 13 of them by the time we got over there.
An operation.
There was certainly something happening over there. I don't know what it was, but they were doing their job well. I'm actually very impressed with the response time of Madison Police.
Mm-hmm.
It is very quick.
Yeah.
It'll be one of those days where I just walk around and yawn a lot.
I thought you said walk around and yell a lot.
Oh, maybe that too.
Oh.
Day's just getting started.
You never know.
Yawn, though, for sure.
Yeah. All right, couple seconds.
Fairly solid and better than expected. It's Daybreak with Brian and Jamie.
It's 8:52 right now. It is the sound of circus. Oh, I'm so excited for this next story. It is Daybreak on the Civic Media Network. I'm Jamie Martinson.
And I'm Brian Noonan. Take it. This story is for you. Take it away. You could.
I love this. Well, this combines a whole lot of things that I love because the United States is turning 250 years old this year, right? America 250, and the country's circus town is going to be celebrating. Circus World, located in Baraboo, Wisconsin. Their spring season starts on Monday, and their summer performances start on May 15th. This year's summer Big Top production theme is Jubilee 250, which will celebrate America's quincentennial birthday through September 8th. Now, attractions director Scott O'Donnell, this is his first summer back in Baraboo. He spent a year in Texas following 11 years at Circus World as their executive director. So I got to tell you, working with Scott O'Donnell for years in Baraboo, we are all so excited that he is back in the great state of Wisconsin because he was made for this role at Circus
World. So he ran away
World.
to rejoin the circus.
He did.
Right.
Now, Baraboo's main attraction is debuting Masters of Mirth this spring.
Oh.
This is an exhibit highlighting the roughly 200-year history of clowns in America circus acts. The Feld Visitor Center showcase inside the exhibit hall will celebrate the art of clowning, as well as countless individuals who have provided laughter for children of all ages at the circus. Masters of Mirth will also feature dozens of costumes, shoes, props, and trunks. There's always so much history even at Circus World, so it's always a really good time. Now, Circus World is also restoring 3 vintage circus vehicles, including 2 wagons for the summer season. Cannot wait for these. These have been going for a long time because they do so much. They actually take old circus wagons. These are not the only 3 that they have ever done, and they redo these from top to bottom to make them look like the original when they would have went through the towns years ago. So this is always exciting. They've been working on these 3 for quite some time. A 1903 float, a 1904 stake driver or vehicle that was used to drill stakes into the ground for circus tents. Yeah, and then they also have a 1934 Sile Sterling circus truck that they've been restoring. This is all part of their continuing restoration projects that they do. The Cookhouse Grill, which is their on-site restaurant, will have new food and drinks this year, and the gift shop has added some new apparel.
Shocking.
Here's the thing. If you are in the Sauk County area or anywhere in the state, and by the way, the circus parade that they have every year actually was a Milwaukee thing way back in the day.
Okay.
And
well, because
so
that's where the trains came in, and then they did that in Chicago too for years.
Yes,
They'd get off, and then the circus would parade to the. Yeah.
It's got so many ties to the great state of Wisconsin.
That's great.
The circus parade will be held in June. I've got to be the announcer for that circus parade for many a year, even on our local low-power TV broadcast. I've gotten to work with Circus World. I've gotten kisses on the cheek from the elephants before the elephants retired to their great life in Oklahoma. And just for anybody who's wondering, you hear that great circus music that Parker played. That comes from a calliope, not a calliope. Do you know the difference? This is a little trivia for anybody.
I do not. Please share.
This is one of the things that you'll learn at Circus World, folks. A calliope was played in water. A calliope was played on land. That is the difference between the two. So
played in water?
It was like on ships, like Navy ships
okay.
and
I was
things like that. Yeah.
Right, I thought you meant in the water too.
Nope,
I don't think that's right.
That's the difference between a calliope and a calliope. So you'll hear plenty of calliope at Circus World. It is just a wonderful place. I sat many years with the Baraboobians on the banks of the Baraboo River while they raised the circus tent because it is a day. We all look forward to it.
All right.
We would bring our drinks, our snacks. We'd watch the cranes come out, the actual cranes, not the birds, and we'd watch them raise this amazing circus tent, and we'd all celebrate and cheer. And then at the end of the year, the skyline of Baraboo completely changes in September when they take that tent down.
Wow.
Because it goes
So how
up and
big an
down.
area does Circus World cover? Is it? I always thought it was like a small museum.
No, it's acres
so it's a
of
big
land.
deal.
Yep, it's
Okay.
acres of land on Baraboo, and when you get there, you'll walk through the main exhibit hall where you'll get to see what we were talking about just a few minutes ago, that new display this year about the Masters of Mirth. They also have several of their original circus buildings from the Ringling Brothers, so you can go through those. They have displays set up. They have some amazing photography over the years. They have different shows that take place at different times on the grounds. You can watch them restore tour some of those wagons through their shop windows. They have a carousel on the grounds. It's a fun, magical place. And Circus World over the years, of course, circus in general is back because Ringling announced that they are performing again, sans animal. I will say this because Baraboo got its share of people coming to protest the elephants.
Oh, stop.
We loved the Elephant Girls in Baraboo. They were the sweetest things. We missed them incredibly. They would get standing ovations every year at the parade. You would know that they were coming down the street because the crowd would get a hush and then everybody'd get to their feet and we'd all applaud the Elephant Girls. So when they retired, it was painfully hard, but they deserve every ounce of retirement.
I know, and this is not a popular opinion. I miss the animals in the circus because I love the circus.
And they still have some animals.
Yeah, a goat,
dogs, horses, llamas.
I can see dogs and horses literally in my backyard.
They have
llamas. And they're not doing anything. But I do like the sphere of death, the big metal sphere where the guys ride the motorcycles inside and zip around. I like all that stuff. I still am amazed by trapeze artists and the high wire people.
See it all. Two big top shows a day from May until September in Baraboo at Circus World. It's a really a fun place for everybody.
Listen, if they're looking for somebody to clown around, I have a clown costume. I look really good in a clown. I got a great clown suit that I'm willing to put on to come up to Baraboo. Well, thank you for listening. We're done for the day, but we'll be back tomorrow because why not? They're paying us to do so, so we'll take their money.
That's what we're told.
Exactly. I'm Brian Noonan.
I'm Jamie Martinson. Thank you for another day on the Civic Media Network.
All right, live stream. We will see you tomorrow. Have a good day.
See you live stream.